Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lost Planning the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Ricada of Ricada Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are we today? Oh my goodness. How are we doing this evening? It is Monday, September 20th, and I've had a long day, and I somehow, despite not doing any physical activity at all, and why is my moving? I'm shifting laterally. It's a lateral shift. Whoa. Despite not doing any physical activity today, I somehow hurt my shoulder. I think I actually hurt my shoulder while taking a nap. So that was nice. That's the joy of getting old. The joy of getting old is that you can be hurt by doing nothing. So welcome to it. Oh, yeah. One day I'm going to do an old stream where I just talk about all the joys of getting old. Like, oh, I took a nap, so now my shoulder will hurt for the next week. Or, oh, I sat down and one of my testicles slipped under my leg and I sat on my own nuts. Yep, that's great. Thanks. That'll be fun. We'll just talk about all those things. And then all of you young whippersnappers can understand what's coming. You're like, "Oh yeah, just go out and work out or something." Oh yeah, sure, there you go. Have fun with that. Working out. I'll work out once, I'll be in the hospital for a month. Okay. We've got some stuff. And listen, the stream hasn't even started. And I already had criticism. About the choice of topics today. Because apparently people want me to talk about, well, not people, a person wants me to talk about like all this important stuff going on, like COVID and Pfizer and vaccine mandates and Project Veritas, all these piddly little things that some niche interest of someone. And I'm like, but why would we talk about these really tiny niche subjects when we could talk about a comic book lawsuit that affects the entire planet? So why would we do these little stupid subjects when we have a much bigger subject that's going on? And so that's my answer. That's my answer is that I've got to focus on the real issues here. I've got to focus on a man who is famous for having his booty hole reamed out on camera for apparently money, suing people for basically that. Like at the end of the day, that's what the lawsuit is about. The lawsuit is about Preston getting pegged going mainstream. Because if no one ever knew Preston got pegged, then no one would know to make fun of him for it. And he's really, really mad about that. And so he's been on a spirit quest, so to speak, to find his spirit animal, which is, I think something that involves spelunking or burrowing. He's been on a quest to find that spirit animal and get revenge for his own life decisions. Now, and that has brought us to this lawsuit. So we're going to be talking about that. Yes, I have seen the first couple minutes of the Project Veritas video. I've got to review it before I can talk about it here in its full glory. Oh, excuse me. It's been removed from Facebook and Instagram already. It's maybe just a matter of time before their YouTube channel gets completely shut down. So that's an interesting thing to consider. But yeah, I got to review it before I can just blindly play it. Okay? Because, my principles involve not being forcefully silenced. That's That's one of the fun ones, is to be able to try and manage this stuff in a way where, we're still allowed to speak as much as possible. But if we can't do it on here, hopefully I'll be able to do something about it on Locals or whatever. I'm definitely interested. I watched the first couple minutes. Seems pretty intense, pretty interesting. And yeah, it's obviously a big to-do right now. It's a very important subject. And yeah, you just got to manage the way you talk about these things. So I'll have to tread carefully on the subject. And without being able to do that today, prior to this, we're going to just wait a little bit on that one. With that, we are going to talk. We're going to catch up on EVS and DA Talks' lawsuit, which has had some consistent filings over the past couple weeks. We need to get those sort of worked out and figure out what's going on. Last I checked, Ethan and DA Talks had moved to dismiss the lawsuit. However, I don't know that we ever read those motions to dismiss on stream or anything like that. So I figure we're gonna burn through those, and then Preston's responses to those are also here. I'm not sure we're gonna do all of that in one sitting. Might digest it over a couple episodes, because just reading legal documents does get really, really fucking boring. Really, really boring. Nozaku, I have every right to mock Tim Pool, and I will continue to mock Tim Pool over his lack of understanding of parenting and his lack of understanding of farming. That is something we'll get to a little bit later in the video, but it's amazing. Tim Pool is an amazing, amazing enigma that exists out there, and I don't know, man. I don't know about Tim Pool. He's an interesting guy, and he has built a very strong brand doing what he does. But he seems to have a little bit of the luxury bug. He seems to have a little bit of the luxury bug. The luxury of his position affords him the ability to espouse things that may not be a reality for other people. That's just my opinion. We'll get to it a little bit later. I'm also got a very short story about speedrunning through court today. I mentioned last night on a impromptu short live stream. Well, it wasn't that short, but it was supposed to be shorter, but then the storm came and changed my after live stream plans, so I streamed a little longer. But I mentioned that I had court this morning, and I did, and it was one of the fastest court hearings I've ever attended. It was amazing, and we won the whole case in this hearing, so that was fun. So I'll give a little bit of backstory on it. It's not. I will reveal all any details that are publicly accessible. I'm not going to pull up the filings or anything. It's really not that important. But I'll give you the brief story on the suit in general, because it's actually the type of suit that people could come across in their own in your own life. Like, this is a more common lawsuit than many of the others that you'll encounter, right? Most people out there are not dummies on YouTube talking about some weirdo getting pegged and then suddenly being sued over a pedophile comic book, right? Like, that's not the life story of the average person. And this lawsuit isn't about that at all, or wasn't about that. It was actually about, hiring someone to paint your house. And then that whole situation going wrong. And so once you have that happen, there are lawsuits that can stem out of that. And these are the type of lawsuits that the average person might come into. Lots of them happen in small claims courts. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the perils of small claims court and how stupid it is, at least in Minnesota. It's a dumb system because it's effectively meaningless if you want it to be. But yeah, so sometimes people like the real law stories that are out there, and I just had one that turned out well. Like I said, we won the case today completely and utterly. It took 6 minutes. The entire hearing was over, and the entire case, like, we didn't just win the hearing, the whole case was won in 6 minutes today. So I'll tell the backstory on it, and and I'm not tooting my own horn. This is not some like special amazing thing that I did or anything like that. It was just very basic legal principles at play, and it should have been over much sooner than this, and we'll talk about that too. So it was but it's an interesting thing. It's not a penis, it's a barn with a silo apparently attached to the barn. I don't know. It's from, look, Lady Rackets was in a theater production. This shirt's like 12 years old or something like that. And so I still have a shirt from that. It's still in okay shape. And it's okay. It's a penis. You're right. Why run from it? Embrace the penisery. So that is there. I do have to say to you guys, Friday night, I brought up a GoFundMe for my aunt and her pup, and you guys came out and responded to that, and several people donated. And my aunt isn't the one who organized the GoFundMe. Her friend did it. So she can't go in and respond to the comments or anything, but she wanted me to pass on specifically just how wonderful it was for all of the help. Thank you so much for it. And she loved reading through the funny comments that people left, and it was just a really nice thing. So, that was great. They're working on the treatment for the dog, and we'll see how it turns out. I'll keep you guys posted, but it's it's a tough thing. The whole animal thing is such a tough spot, because treating an animal it's so expensive, right? Like, it gets so expensive, and for some people it's a really hard thing to try and figure. Like, for me, I'm not great with the whole let's spend a bunch of money on the animals thing, because I'm a heartless, soulless monster. But yeah. So but for other people, it's that's a companion, that's a family member in a different way for them, and so that's it becomes a different question. And and that little bit right there is actually one of my big criticisms on this Tim Pool thing. It's not that I think that he's wrong per se on the principle, right? It's that it's really easy for him to speak about the principles that someone else should have when he doesn't have the same stakes for himself. And that's the big issue. So it would be like me thinking, well, I don't want to spend a bunch of money saving a dog or a cat or whatever, going, yeah, bury it or whatever, and telling someone else that they should have that same principle, but it doesn't work that way. So we'll talk about that later. Again, but it's interesting, because I wasn't meaning to make the analogy and bringing up the story. It just came to my head as I was talking through it here. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna pin the links. Oh my goodness, so demandy. Okay, we've got just like a couple super chats that came in right before the show that I got to grab, and then we'll start getting into the content. And if you are not aware of the content, oh my goodness, DSP has had something that shouldn't happen to him, right? Let's be very honest. It should not happen to him. What has happened to DSP should not happen to anybody, but it has happened, and someone has in some way acquired the transaction list for DSP's bank accounts. I don't know how they did it. From what I'm told, it sounds really, really illegal. It sounds really, really illegal. And that sucks. And the person who did the criminal act, I mean, I can't imagine doing a criminal act just to own DSP. I can't, like, that is so far beyond the bounds of what needs to be done to own DSP, but they have released his transaction list from his bank account, and turns out yeah, he spends a lot of money on WWE legends or champions or whatever. He spends a lot of money on it. And now people are hitting him for his liquor budget, which I was like, oh God, I hope no one hits mine. Whew, my transaction list liquor budget is terrifying. No, it's not. It's not actually that bad, but yeah. Well, it's funny because they're apparently they're criticizing him because he goes to Total Wine and spends like $40 to $50 a week or something like that. I don't know. You know, I didn't really look into it. That was the summary I got. And I'm like, $40 to $50 a week, huh? Well, here's 2 weeks. My average trip to the liquor store could be easily 3 to 4 weeks of that. But okay. But you know, the difference being, right? Like, he's out there like, look, guys, you gotta donate. I can't pay the mortgage. I can't pay the mortgage. Can't pay the utilities. They're gonna shut down my water. Yeah, not that I drink it because I've got wine, which is fine. But you know, they're gonna shut me down. So yeah, that's the real joke, is that he's you know, he's allegedly begging, and then the allegedly he's begging, and then the whatchamacallit, you know, then spending kind of frivolously. To me, the WWE champions, him spending like $20,000 a year on that is a bigger cause for concern to me, but it's all funny. Okay. Before the rumor mill starts, because I know it's going to, I forgot my ring upstairs. I was helping my my daughters had to take a bath, and I had to help rinse the conditioner out of their hair. And I don't know if you've ever rinsed conditioner out of someone else's hair, but that stuff makes your hand all slippery. So I took my ring off and I forgot. Now I'm sure everybody's going to be like, oh, we knew it. Rakeda exposed. Marriage is over. Or whatever. So I just forgot it upstairs. But I know it's going to come up. So there you go. There you go. I'll make sure and tell Lady Rackets this weekend that it's over between us because I forgot my ring. That'll be good. Okay. What do we got? The couple that came in before. No one important says, can we get an F in chat for Gabby? We all saw it coming, but it's still sad to see a young girl cut down in her prime. Yes, F's in chat for Gabby Petito. I'm still waiting to see if there's any evidence of cannibalism from the laundry guy. I think Brian Laundrie. I got the Edie vibe out of that one, but maybe not. Maybe not. So we'll, F's for her, young pretty lady. Maybe a little unstable, right? Anybody driving around in a van, filming their own life and displaying it to the world, seems a little unstable to me. As fiance, I cannot imagine doing that with a fiance where you're really, really like getting to know someone. Seems like a bad recipe, but that's not me. I wasn't. I didn't do it. I didn't drive around. I'm just playing video games. Funny Valentine 2024 says, shame Viva didn't win, but that was to be expected. How did he do? How did Viva end up doing? Percentage of the vote wise, I don't know. I know the Canadian elections are here today, or happening today, but I don't know how to cover Canadian elections. I don't know if Canada's even invented the news yet. But it doesn't, I don't think he had expected to win or anything like that. And it was more a matter of standing up for principles. And the most important thing, 4.2%. Okay, gotcha. The most important thing I want to say about Viva, in my times that I've talked to him and getting to know him a little bit, and I mean only a little bit, it is hard to come up with an attack on Viva's character. He's a guy who stood on his principles, spoke out publicly, took the risk and all that comes with running for public office, and he did so with honor and respect, in a way that like I couldn't pull off, and other YouTubers, who have tried that type of stuff haven't been able to pull off. He ran with integrity, respect, honor, and I will say courage. So to Viva, a very good man by all accounts that I've ever seen. And would this be a just world, would probably be in office. But alas, justice is long gone. All right. And Red Mage 13 says, did you see the huge bombshell that Project Veritas dropped today? Sweeping adverse event reporting under the rug. And that was just part one. I've only seen part of it. It looks very, very intriguing, and I'll be keeping a watch on it for sure. Faux show. Towers Comics says, talking to my ex tonight, she's dating a jerk who tried to take advantage of her when she was blacked out drunk 4 years ago. Man, that stings. I need tips on how to meet women, Nick. I don't know, buddy. I'm telling you, I found mine early via fortune, and I grabbed on and didn't let go. I mean, that was it. That was it. From the first time I met her, I was in pursuit. So, and then, I've been working every day to make this relationship work for, I guess, we've been married 17 years, but it's probably been about 19 years now. Would have been around now, maybe a little bit. It was probably last month that would have been the anniversary of our meeting, because it was probably late August, but it might be early September. I don't know. We met early on in her first year of college. So, my second year of college. Wait, second year? Third year. Yeah, my third year of college. Her first year. Yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, man, I couldn't tell you how to meet women. Try and do it in real life, because this online thing seems like a fucking sham to me. Towers Comics says Project Veritas video will shock the normies. I don't think it will. That's the thing. I think there's so many people who are they've made it a political issue so effectively from the start that I think people are already entrenched. And that's the scary thing about this Veritas thing. And we talk about the Tim Pool thing, which I might do at the beginning here, because it's not a long issue. But when we talk about that, you'll see like people are so entrenched on the issue that everything else around it, you just, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know that it'll shock anybody. I still don't know any vax injured peeps, but with vax mandates, I'm a second-class citizen now in Canada. Got asked for my papers to get to the gym and order takeout today. No, I agree. I agree. It's that's the thing. And the thing is we can't know. If they're covering up the info, you can't know the truth. And if they aren't covering up the info, the sort of general consensus is that they might be covering up the info because they're highly invested in the outcome. So this all goes back to the erosion of public trust in government, which is a good thing. We shouldn't have much trust in our government to do things like this. We should have trust in our government to protect our property, protect our rights, and that's it. But it seems like the only thing we can do these days is trust the government to infringe on our rights and property. And I got another story on that. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember the raiding of the safe deposit boxes that they did? The FBI raided some safe deposit boxes and confiscated $86 million in cash and jewelry. Did you guys know that the FBI has provided basically zero evidence that any of that cash and jewelry, $86 million, that any of it has any tie to criminal activity at all? They went in and they just stole it. And now people are going to court. Over 300 people have filed claims to try and get their property back, but they took property from something like 700 different people. And these are safe deposit boxes. Even the bank doesn't know what goes in them. Or this wasn't a bank, I don't think. I think it was a private deposit box business. But either way, no one's supposed to know what's in there. You're supposed to have full privacy. It should require a warrant for every single individual box. And that every single individual box's warrant should be supported by adequate probable cause. But that's not happening. They just went in and looted the whole thing. And then you have to go fight for it. But, for some people, that's their money. One guy, $56,000 in cash in the safe deposit box. And they said it's, quote unquote, from drugs. And he's like, prove it. And then the funny thing is, he proved it wasn't from drugs. But they're like, oh, this guy doesn't make enough money. This guy's salary's too low to have that much money laying around. But he had the damn receipts. And he's like, you got nothing on me. But it doesn't matter. Note the important part of that. His income is too low for the feds to think he'd have 56 grand in cash lying around. Which means his income is probably too low to easily be able to throw, money at a lawyer. And that 56 grand in cash would have probably come really in handy to try and throw money at a lawyer, but he didn't have access to it. Those are his savings. That's what he was putting away. And the FBI knows it. They know that when they go after some of these people, that's going to be taking away the assets that would let them fight for their stuff. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Also, I hope you saw that there was an arrest made. There was an arrest made at the September 18th rally, that the insurrectionist rally, the Justice for January 6th insurrectionist rally. There was an arrest. Turns out they arrested a Fed. There were so many Feds undercover that the only person they arrested was an undercover Fed. They're not going to charge him, though. They got it figured out. They got that one sorted out. It's like, yeah, we get it. Everybody there was a Fed, all undercover, and you sorted out the one arrest that you thought wasn't a Fed because I guess you didn't check the time cards or whatever. But yeah, the one that you arrested was like, oh, sorry, Jim. Didn't mean to pick you up, but we didn't recognize you. You got that new fashy haircut. And so your man bun was replaced with a fashy haircut, so we didn't recognize you, and the rest was an accident. It's so bad. It's so bad. Wolfgang Deo says, with new circuits, professor, I was told everything I know is wrong. Lol, like, okay. It may be poetic, but it explains the techniques well. Nice bridge. I'm willing to burn this one too. But we shall see tomorrow. Who knows? Whatever. Good luck. Good luck with that. Oh, the previous chat, I guess I'll include it as part of it for the sake of the story. My circuits professor got replaced. Lol. I swear I didn't do it. Nice to have an electrical engineer instead of a mechanical engineer, though. Perhaps. But then apparently you were told everything you knew was wrong, so that's good. Jason McConnell, he's right. You're wrong. Jason McConnell says, could you imagine being such a giant cuck that Tim Pool looks like a man to you, much less some sort of leader? I will marry his chickens and impregnate Ian while Tim watches. After that, it gets weird and nasty. Wait, what? Marry his chickens and impregnate Ian? Okay. I don't even know what that means. Generalissimo says, I think there's a third component to the ethical/moral RE just some guy. We should be willing to stand by our ethics even when we may be inconvenienced, i.e. defending speech we despise. That is to be principled, opposite hypocrisy. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, sure. You always have to determine what is actually a principle to you and how much that principle is worth. And if that principle, if you see that this is the thing, it gets really, really complicated really, really fast when we're talking about principles and defending them. Because like I have principles about Subway sandwiches, right? As we've talked about, the U-gouge is superior. Oh, I was on a show with Viva the other day and I mentioned the U-gouge and he explained it to the audience and I was like, yes, Viva understands the U-gouge. He's with me. This is my people. And, but what am I going to go into a Subway and protest? No, I'm not going to go protest. It's a principle of sandwich making, but it's not that important to me. I will go in and pee on their tables though. Don't eat at Subway. Some of you are cool. Don't eat at Subway tomorrow. Renegade Shuriken says, hey, Nick, I'm a bit freaked out. Job is in Minnesota. I'm in Wisconsin. Just got an email today saying the poke mandates will be coming. Not opposed to it. Wanted to wait for long-term studies. Had no issue with COVID over the past year. Again, that's a tough one because you're going to have to figure out, like, if you have a principle about that, and then how far you go to defend it. Are you willing to lose your job? Some people, the answer is yes. Others, the answer is no. And it's not a simple question. Stega says, just as crazy as a safe deposit box BS, look up the auto key card guy. He got arrested by the ATF for selling something they said wasn't illegal, and they froze all his assets so he couldn't afford a lawyer. F the ATF. I agree. 100%. F the ATF. One of the worst organizations on the in the American government right now. The ATF is literally dedicated to saving you from yourself. If that is not just a de facto infringement of liberty, I don't know what is. The sole job of the ATF is to save each person from their own choices. That's it. Because if you want to reduce gun violence by the most effective reduction of gun violence numbers that are reported is to attack suicides, which account for more gun violence deaths than any other method. Like, it's more than rifle murders. It's more than accidental discharges. Suicides are the #1 cause of gun violence deaths in America. And it's not even close. It's something like 4 times the amount of overall murders and like 200 times the amount of accidental discharge deaths. So the firearm part of ATF, the F, is there to protect you from yourself. Alcohol. Drunk driving is bad. Liver failure, and alcohol related deaths that are not drunk driving related, like alcohol fueled suicides and stuff like that. Again, higher than drunk driving deaths. Drunk driving deaths are awful. They're terrible. I am not a fan of drunk driving. I would never do it. And you know, as a criminal defense attorney, I don't do those cases. I refer people on them. The only ones I do are if people want to plea, and I tell them up front. I say, look, if you're willing to plea on this, if that's what you want to do, I will negotiate your plea deal for you. However, if you want to fight it, I'm not your guy. There are better people to do it, and I would happily recommend you. That's how I do them. It's not my thing, and therefore I don't specialize in it, and I don't keep up on, you know, all of the stuff for doing DUI defense. Hats off to the people who do. They're great, and every one of those people deserves a defense, just not my thing, right? That being said, the other alcohol-related deaths are higher than drunk driving. So again, you've got to protect the person from themselves. And of course, we all know that cigarettes being used in murder is probably one of the lowest things, although it's possible, right? Like you could cigarette burn someone's eyes until they died or something, I guess. But you're talking about protecting people from their own actions again. That department is an infringement to liberty. It is offensive to liberty by its own existence. And I hate it. I hate it. And I'll read this one real quick before I miss it. John Andrews says, hey man, I'm 40 and I'm about to apply to law school. Hey, good luck, buddy. Do you have any advice for starting a legal career later in life? Mine ended up on YouTube, so take that as you will. Here's the thing. If you're about to apply to law school, that tells me you haven't applied to law school yet. Let me give you the best advice that I got about law school. Law school admissions departments are small. 3 to 6 ladies run the law school admissions for the law schools. They're the ones who go through all the hundreds of applications that they get. Make an appointment to meet with the admissions department. Just meet them, learn about their admissions process, learn about the school. They'll probably take you on a tour of the school, talk about what the school has to offer. Just call and set up the appointment. Say, hey, I would love to meet with someone from admissions in person and learn about the school and how you guys do admissions. I'm thinking about applying. That way, they'll learn your name. They'll get a face attached to that name. And then when they see your application, they're going to go, I know that guy. I met that guy, right? This is so-and-so. Do it. Do it. It's the number one way where everybody is applying electronically and facelessly. Do whatever you can to get your face in front of the people making the decision. And I would say that applies to everything these days. Same thing with, job hunting. Beg, cheat, whatever you need to do to get in front of a person. Not cheat, you know what I mean? Just find a way to get in front of a person. Because you want them to see you so you can make the impression, not so your fucking paperwork makes an impression. So do that. Do that. What if one's face is fugly? If you're ugly enough, they'll remember you even more. It all depends on your professionalism and your niceness. So do those things. Get in front of a person. As for starting a legal career later in life, I mean, you're going to be 43. If you go full time, you'll be 43 when you're out. The cool thing about law is you don't need anybody's permission. So you can try and work somewhere. You could, do your internships and try and make the network connections and all that stuff. If it doesn't work, you don't need anybody's permission. Open a law office and get going. Grab every damn client you can and see if you can get word of mouth going. See if you can make enough money to advertise and get out there and do it. But if you're on YouTube, you already know the value of social media, and that puts you ahead of tons and tons of lawyers who are still paying $200,000 to put their name in a phone book. Okay. I think maybe we could. God damn it. I don't know if I want to talk about this fucking Tim Pool thing. Real quick, we'll do it. Real quick. This only takes a couple minutes. All right. So this is based on, this is a tweet I made earlier today in relation to a video from Tim Pool. He's talking to some guy named Jack. I don't know who these people are. I literally have no idea. So I'm not like on the side of this other person because I like them or anything. I don't know who this guy is. Here we go. Jack Murphy is his name. Don't know him. Okay. So, I don't care who Jack Murphy is or anything like that. It has nothing to do with this argument before people, the argument that I'm going to put forward before people accuse me of that. So let's see. Here we go. So after this, I said that there's things Tim Pool demonstrably doesn't understand, having kids and farming. Notice what I don't say. I'm not saying anything about his particular stance on vaccines. So here we go.
The mandate now is going to be that all varsity athletes in high school have to get a vaccine in Montgomery County, Maryland, where my kids go to school. My son is a high school baseball player. My daughter is a high school rower. And if they want to continue on in the sport that they love, playing for the school that they like and that they go to, they're going to have to get the vaccine. What am I going to do? What do I do then, Tim? I tell my kids, forget baseball, forget crew?
Yes.
Man, I wish
you
it,
love
I
the
wish
system.
it were, I wish it were that easy.
You love the system more.
No.
Then tell your kids not to play baseball.
What?
This is not how parenting works. This is not, and I know it's really easy to say, oh, just don't have him play baseball. Jack's going to go on to describe like his son's entire life has been gearing up to play baseball, and it is the door opener for his future. And Tim's like, no, just every 16 years of life, just turn it around. You don't have to worry about that anymore. This is the tough thing here. Here we go.
Dude, that's like telling you not to wear a beanie and not to do this show.
Baseball is not survival. Baseball is something.
Trains
is a passion.
people to become.
Wearing a beanie and doing Tim's show isn't survival either. That's the tough thing here. Like he just called out Tim on a minor hypocrisy. Wearing a beanie and doing Tim's show is not survival. I mean, Tim makes an income, but you know what? Tim can work somewhere else and get an income. What happens? What does Tim Pool do if the government mandates or if YouTube mandates proof of vaccination for all YouTubers who are in the partner program? By the way, they could do this. They absolutely could do this. YouTube could do it with basically 30 days notice. Hey, we're changing the terms of service. Anybody who wants to be a YouTuber needs to have proof of vaccine sent to us. And we would have zero recourse against that. What would Tim Pool do? Would he give up his entire YouTube career to do that? I don't know.
Adults, and it is a path to success. It is a path to scholarships.
And you care more about that than your kids.
No, I care about my kids because
he's literally talking about things for his kids. He's like, and you care more about those things for your kids than your kids. He's like, no, I care about my kids. That's the whole point. Tim is missing it.
Those things are valuable.
You care more about the fact they could play baseball than the health and choices of your kids and their freedom. And what you're saying is, well, they're going to make my kids do it. And the system in place that they control and the things they've given me are more important than my sovereignty. So be it.
It's not
you
that
can
simple.
choose to live.
Not that simple, dude.
You can
The backstory, the unspoken backstory of this, by the way, which makes Jack's situation even more complicated. It makes Jack's situation even more complicated is that Jack is divorced and custody is a contentious matter. And the children's doctors have recommended the shot, which means if he were to refuse to give them the shot, which then cripples their ability to do the high school varsity activities that are door openers into college and other things, he has suddenly put something ahead of the court's view of his child's best interest, which means he may lose custody of his children based on that decision because family court is stupid. And I know that family court is stupid in that way. However, he has to consider that because guess what happens when they go to the mom? They get the shot. So you've defeated your own custody and stood by your principles at the sacrifice of your children, and your principles didn't actually translate to the children. Again, this is what I mean by Tim Pool doesn't understand having kids. He doesn't understand the sacrifices that parents are making for their children. He doesn't understand how important children's success and future is. Because guess what? Like, your children's success will often end up trumping your principles in some way or another. And that's why I was talking about earlier. It's about the value of your principles and what you're willing to give up to defend it. Are you willing to give up your children for your principles to the point where those principles will then not be transferred to your children because they'll get it anyway?
You can buy a farm.
You can buy a farm. Just buy a farm. There it is. That alone tells you what Tim Pool knows about farming. You can't just buy a farm. First of all, the cost of a farm is absurdly expensive. I mean, this is the let them eat cake argument. You cannot just buy a farm. First, you have to find a farm. Second, you have to buy one. To give you guys, I don't know. You want 20 acres of farmland, of actual farmland in Minnesota. You're paying around here, and this is not the highest retail or the highest real estate prices in the state or anything. You're paying between $8,000 to $10,000 an acre. A farm as a business. And you're talking hundreds to 1,000 acres, multiple hundreds to 1,000 acres to make farming profitable. Plus, of course, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment that you have to buy. If you are not a legacy farmer that is inheriting huge chunks of land and the capital needed, the equipment costs and stuff like that, getting into farming and like, oh, I'm just going to take up farming as a new profession. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. It's a crazy man's perspective. And sure, maybe Tim Pool can. He made millions of dollars. Tim Pool, of course, isn't doing the farming. Whatever farmland he owns, he's not out there, adjusting the timing belt on his John Deere tractor, right? Like he's not doing that. There's no way. Like he's too busy doing his very important show. So it's such an easy thing to say. It's just a fake thing. It's a straw man. It's for almost everybody. It's not practicable.
You can choose to work hard and be.
By the way, just about every farmer out there works hard, and not every farmer makes it because farming is really, really hard to be successful at. I said timing belt. Wolvenar. It's a timing belt, not valve.
It's not that simple, man. You know what? I wish I had that simplicity. If it were up to me, they'd be homeschooled and playing private club ball all the time. But guess what? I've been divorced for 12 years. I don't have sovereignty over that particular issue. I can't just pick my kids up and move them across the country. Is my line in the sand going to be taking away from my children the thing that they love the most?
Well, well, I don't. Do you want to say how?
14
they're
and
minors.
16.
If it was me,
Yeah.
I would do it in 2 seconds.
You would tell
In 2 seconds. In 2 seconds. Yeah, Tim, we know you don't have children. Like, you don't have to tell us. You don't have to explain it. We got it. You have no idea how parent-children interactions work. You have no idea. This guy has built, in some way, he has made the moves for the children to have this pass. And Tim's like, yep, no, you just reverse that all in 2 seconds. Okay. I mean, I guess.
You would tell your kid that you have been coaching in baseball your whole life, that you have taught how to throw, how to pitch, how to bat, and you've talked your whole life about them being on a varsity sport and going into college to play Division I baseball, and you would look them in the eye and be like, just throw that away because daddy's got a political position. So I know that this is nothing but bullying. It's nothing but bullying. And they have found that open wound, that open nerve, that one thing that I can't fight, which is the happiness and success and fulfillment that my children feel.
There you go. So that's my thing. Again, it's not about, like, Tim has a principle, all right? And that principle is fine for Tim. It's always about imposing that principle on someone else and demanding that they adhere to it when you don't have the same level of investment in that person. You can't do that to them. Because Tim Pool doesn't have kids. First of all, he's too short to have kids. Second of all, he just doesn't have them. And it's obvious. I don't know if he ever will have kids. I don't know if you can impregnate a skateboard or a beanie. I'm not sure. But with that being said, he doesn't have them. And so therefore, he's going to have this easy take. It's frustrating to see this because not having kids does not mean you can't speak about having kids, right? That is not the argument. That is not a thing that works. Like, you don't get to say, oh, well, you don't have this, so you can't talk on that. Of course you can speak to the issue. But the problem is when you don't properly consider the issue and what it costs to someone to do that. And I've seen a lot of people like, what if the kids die from the vaccine or whatever? I don't know. That's the risk assessment that people take, right? But it's extremely unlikely that that'll happen. What if the kid dies playing baseball? That's another possibility, by the way. People have died doing both. So it's a tough thing. And that's the problem with this is and I seem to be seeing this a lot from Tim Pool. His principles are very clear and straightforward. And again, being a millionaire with a job that doesn't tend to rely on anything is a nice place to be to espouse those principles. It really is. Tim's not worried that YouTube will do a vaccine mandate on its creators, but they could. And then I wonder what Tim would do. Someone said he'd shut his channel down. Color me skeptical. Color me skeptical. That's real easy to say. That is insanely easy to say. But let's see Tim lose $3 million a year. Let's see him lose $3 million a year for that principle. Whatever Tim Pool is, I don't know that he's Alex Jones. I don't know that he weathers the storm. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know if he's Crowder. And again, I'm opposed to the vaccine mandates. 100%. Sounds like Jack's opposed to the mandates too. But the reality is more complicated than the principle. And it's why, again, people have asked me like why I don't talk about doing strikes or protests or whatever. I sit in my house and my job is talking to a camera, right? If I go protest, I can film the protest and further my job. Like, I'm not taking a day off work. I'm probably increasing the value by doing that. I can't tell a mechanic to eschew his job responsibilities and go down and you got to stand up and do a protest. You got to not do this. You got to not do that. I can't do that because my situation is so vastly different than that person's. That's the tough issue. So again, this is my thing is this. Don't let anybody mold your principles for you. You know, take their arguments, take their information. You make your own principles. They're yours. They're yours. Don't let someone else have them for you because they can't. They're not you. They're not in your situation. They don't know what your bank account looks like. They don't know what your income looks like. They don't know what your marital status is. They don't know what your relationship with your kids relies on. They don't know. They don't know. So you make your own principles and you stand by them when you determine it's valuable enough to do so. I encourage that. That's liberty. Liberty, by the way, is not the tyranny of the counterculture mob either. It's not enforced by government. But if it's enforced by a legion of 5'6" beanie-wearing manlets running around demanding that you adhere to their principles, or else they'll publicly shame you or whatever, or try to destroy you, that's not liberty either. It just isn't. So that's my bit on the Tim Pool thing. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but there it is. There it is. Joshua Hilton Bright says, in today's news of wacky, wild Aussie actors, Melbourne protesters put gaslighting reporter in a headlock and then proceeded to pour an unknown substance, which weirdly looks like pee in a bottle over reporter's bald head. Gross. Gross. That's disgusting. But again, see, this is the other thing about these mandates. They're not popular. And they're increasingly unpopular. When authoritarian hellholes like Australia and the Netherlands and Canada, when you've got people protesting in the street over the mandates, these places that are happy to comply with government lockdowns and stuff like that, and government edicts elsewhere, when they're starting to oppose the mandates and waking up, there is hope. There's hope against the mandate. And, if you can find that strength in other people, like there was one workplace, 40% of the workforce refused to comply with the mandate and the company reversed course. That's the proper action. Even if every one of those 40% of people were to go get the vaccine the day after, it would still be the proper action because opposing the mandates is proper. It is proper. And then people can make their own decisions on their own health. And that's what everybody should be focused on. They should never be focused on saving Tim Pool's principles. Didn't your government start a corporate mandate? Yes, they did. They did. And it is not something that I think is... One, I don't think the government has the power to do it. And that's getting challenged. But we'll see how it turns out. But the thing is, most of those corporations, they wanted the government to do the mandate. They wanted the excuse to get the mandate. That's what they want. They want the cover. They want to be able to blame the public. Oh, well, we got to do it. We got to do this. Sorry, guys. Man, rough. That's what most corporations want. But we'll see what happens. Would government mandates on health reverse Roe versus Wade and Buck versus Bell? Shockingly, somehow, no. It's a good question, though, Sketch. It's a very good question. Here we go. Bob Ricada. Dad's in the chat. He says, a shout out to all the contributors to my sisters, Nick's Aunt Sharon. Plight with her dog. Knicks fans are the best. Aw, thanks, Dad. Thank you. Thank you. So there you go. That is from Papa Rackets right there. What do we got? Mr. Obi-Wan 2020 says, look, I'd be willing to drop my job over my principles, but I can't force my principles on my kids. Now, some people have come up with a reasonable solution. These kids are 14 and 16. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Do you want to take this? Do you want to continue playing sports? Do you want to try and find an alternative? That's an option. For Tim, that's not an option, apparently. But when you have a kid that you're responsible for, that is an option. If they're old enough. Laughing Man, D8B, says, that which you value more than your freedom will be the tool of your enslavement. Yeah, it will be. It will be. Mandy Carvicia says, reminds me of Stephen King's A Perfect Storm. The adult characters give up their children to the evil druid because they might die otherwise. In the end, most of the adults became depressed and committed suicide. That parent-child relationship is something that I can't explain to someone who doesn't have kids. I can't do it. And so it's a tough one. Random Blaze says, I did not need to upload my vaccine card to my work website, Rackets. Good. Turns out the on-site clinic that I got the vaccine at shared it with the company without my permission. Is this a HIPAA violation? I don't know. It would depend on if you had signed a HIPAA release form that would allow them to do that. So that's tough. that's a tough issue. There's a lot of facts involved. They would, your clinic where you got the vaccine should be covered by HIPAA. But the question is, did you sign a HIPAA release that would allow them to share that with an employer? And I don't know the answer to that. Stephen Frost says, hey, Nick, I had to walk off a good-paying job because they mandated the vaccine because of my principal. But I don't have a family, and I disagree with Tim. I feel for Jack. And again, that's the thing. Your principles are yours. They're yours. And it's a tough spot to be in. So I'm glad I homeschool. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I'm very glad I homeschool. We get to make all of these choices without pressure from somebody else. We get to choose what we do for our kids. So, and by the way, I would recommend everybody homeschool. And that would be a great solution for Jack, except for the divorce, right? The custody battle. He can't just make that call. We already saw the one, the Chicago judge who said, your kid's not vaccinated. Poof. No visitation for you. No parental rights. Sorry. They go to the other person until the, or no, not the kid was vaccinated. The mom was not vaccinated. And because I think she had even a reason from her doctor, and the judge's like, you're not vaccinated, putting your kid in danger. Boom. Kid goes to dad. There you go. Reverse that decision eventually, but that's the reality that some of these people face. And that's the hard part. Again, if the mom in the situation can take the kids and will then have the authority to get them vaccinated, your principle meant nothing. You just lost everything. And your principle didn't win. It's complicated, man. It's complicated. Hopefully we can have enough people hold out until the mandates are gone. We'll see. Very tough. Real quick, Wolfgang Deo says, quote, I can't explain having kids to those without. This is like months ago with those spectrum issues. This is an ad hominem fallacy, Nicky boy. It's not an ad hominem fallacy at all. If you misunderstand ad hominem fallacies enough to think that that is somehow an ad hominem, you're incorrect. But yeah, you can't explain having kids to people without kids. Again, doesn't invalidate their arguments. It just makes it difficult to communicate with them. That's all. I don't know where you get that that's an ad hominem, but unless you're joking, and I just don't get it because of my spectrum issues. Okay. We need to get into... It's not an appeal to special authority fallacy, though, because I'm not saying the other person is wrong. When did people... I'm not saying their argument is invalid. I said I can't explain having kids to people without having kids. And I can't. In the same way that someone without kids probably cannot explain to me about not having kids. Because I have a hard time remembering life without kids. I really do. I've had them for a long time now. It's not something you have a different perspective. It doesn't make your perspective invalid. Fallacies require the invalidation of an argument based on the fallacious reasoning. Like that. How do people not understand this? Like, I don't get that. Vapid Zero, you're digging a hole. If you don't understand that a fallacy requires the invalidation of an argument based on the fallacy reasoning, then I don't know what to tell you other than to read up on what fallacies actually are. Jesus. That's a weird one. I love it. He says, we get it. A comfy guy wants comfy. I don't know how my position, which I have not advocated in either way for that, is advocating for comfort. I said, you make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you. I'm specifically not telling you how to live your life because mine doesn't look like yours. That's such a fucking dumb take. I can't get around it. General Ismo says, love the discussion about principles. I think that one's principles can conflict with one another. One has to win, e.g. your kid's health. I personally think principles consist of those few things that raise these conflicts. There you go. Yeah, you tell us over and over to homeschool. Yes, I'm mandating that you homeschool. You have to do it. You have to do it. Every time I say homeschool your kids, it's accompanied with a story about how bad the public school system is. But you're right. You're right. There you go. You found the logical fallacy, you brilliant genius. Again, you've got some cold takes on this, man. And it's really weird. It's a really weird position. I'm telling you to homeschool your kids as a joke about how bad the public school system is, fully acknowledging that not everybody can homeschool their kids. Pay the fuck attention. Oh my goodness. Okay. Ugh. Sometimes, man. Sometimes. Let's get into... Well, I guess I could tell you the speedrunning the court thing while I pull up the documents for Preston and EVS. Come on now. Here we go. Come on. We've got Poulter versus Asaf et al. All right, here we go. We need to first look at the first document by DA Talks, because it will be instructive and informative in the next document. This was actually filed on August 4th. So this is from a little bit back. This is from a little bit. Tell us how to live. Tell us how to live. Look, all you guys, what you have to do is you have to get on YouTube right away. You have to get married at 22 or whatever. You got to get on. You got to get 5 kids. You got to struggle through some garbage banking jobs, and then you got to get despondent and go to law school in your 30s, and then you got to get out and you got to start a law firm in a small town that you live in, and you got to work at that for a couple years, and then you got to become a fan of a podcast, right? And then you have to have the podcast break up, and then someone gets sued, and then be drinking some whiskey on your couch with your wife, watching TV with your kids in the other room, and you got to see a lawsuit come across the Twitters, and then you got to commentate on it, and then what you got to do is upload that to YouTube and get lucky and have like 10,000 people watch your stupid drunken ranting about 2 dummies fighting over a podcast, and then work really hard at that for 9 months or 10 months or whatever, and then decide to do it full time and to transition away from a law practice and shut down your office and move back home and focus on how you build a channel and then somehow get people to keep watching. You got to do all that. That's what you got to do. That's your principles. That's my principles. You should do it too. You can do it. Just buy a farm. I just summarized Tim Pool, by the way, saying buy a farm. And that's why buy a farm is such a dumb argument from Tim Pool. Mr. Obi-Wan says, my children understand that making a free choice is a principle I hold, yet I deny them the freedom to choose by mandating that they don't get the vaccine. How am I not seen as a hypocrite by my own kids? All I can do is inform. And again, you gotta do that. You gotta do that. You gotta make that choice. As a parent, that is one of the choices that you can make. No, you're not going to do this. Yes, you are going to do this. And that could have the adverse reaction, or it could not. I mean, one of the things, and it's a really low outcome, right? One of the things would be, what if your kid actually gets COVID and dies? It does happen rarely that a child will get COVID and then pass on. It's one of the lowest possible outcomes of all of the situations, but it does happen. And then that parent would have to deal with that decision too. And that would be devastating to them because they'd be wondering, what if I would have made the other choice? You can't know. All life is risk, man. It just is. Okay. I'm supposed to be talking about speedrunning court. Supposed to be talking about speedrunning court here. So briefly, I got a case from someone who had hired someone to paint their house. And again, this is all going to be public, or all of this is public info. Everything I'm saying is out there. It's in the court system, and it's public information. But someone hired someone to paint their house. They accepted the bid, and then they arranged payment. 30% down, 30% when it was half done, and then the other 40% at the end. Simple arrangement, very, very, kind of a common contractor sort of payment scheme. And the person who they hired didn't finish the job. But wanted to be paid prior to finishing the job. Now, I don't know how much you guys have worked with contractors, but if you pay a contractor the rest of the contract and they have a substantial amount of work left, some of them will do this interesting thing called never coming back. And then you're stuck with this really interesting dilemma because they're in breach, but going after them becomes really difficult because you might not be able to find them. If you can find them, you sue them, you pay a bunch of money, and you should win But what's the damage? They have to pay you back, but your house still isn't done. You might collect fees. They might have some reason they couldn't complete it or whatever. And you end up, let's say you even win back the money that you paid, you end up probably having to pay someone else more to come in because no one wants the half job, right? So there was a dispute over the payment. They said they wanted to be paid the full amount prior to the work being done, which wasn't in the agreement, but that's what they wanted. And then, they said, no, finish the job. And the person in retaliation takes a bunch of garbage, right? And they take it and they dump it on someone else's property. So then that's not good. That's not good. You can't, the contractor takes the painting garbage and all that stuff and dumps it somewhere else. So then that person blames the original person. So then they tell the painter, you're not welcome back. You can't come back. If you come back, call in the police. Right? So the deal's over. Makes sense. This is a simple breach of contract claim. Except the interesting part, what made this case different, is that not the contractor, but somebody else sued my client, saying that they had a painting contract with my client. Okay? Are you with me on this? So the contractor did not sue my client. Some unrelated part, well, related-ish, but some person who is not party to the agreement sues my client. This should take no time at all to take care of. And they sue him in small claims court. So I show up to the hearing, the first hearing. And my client was not on the hearing right away. This is not today. This is the previous one. Client was not on the hearing right away, and the judge was mad, ready to issue a default judgment. My client popped on, explained internet issues, but the judge was already upset. I try to speak. Judge will not recognize me as counsel because in Minnesota, in conciliation or small claims court is what it's called somewhere else, assistance of counsel is actually up to the judge's discretion. So the judge can say, no, I do not believe you as a lawyer will be helpful to this situation. And the judge said, the other party is not represented. I will not recognize you before this court. So I have to sit there. While my client tries to explain to the judge that he did not hire this person. Okay? Which is a very weird thing, right? Well, why are they suing you? What's going on here? So the person had evidence that my client had hired them. And the evidence was, and this appears to be true, that when my client paid the contractor took the money, left for like lunch that day, came back with a receipt. But the receipt was signed by someone else. Someone my client did not know. This person who was suing my client. So the judge takes that receipt and says, did you receive these receipts? My client's like, yeah, I got a receipt that I paid someone. Right? And the judge then says, that is an action in furtherance of a contract. Again, with not the contractor, not the worker, not the person that they negotiated the deal with, not the person who did the work, not the person who did the estimate, nothing. But the judge was so mad at my client, it seemed, that was just not willing to hear my client out. And which is crazy town. That is crazy. There is no way that is an action in furtherance of the contract when person takes who you hire, takes a receipt or takes your money and brings you back a receipt that happens to be signed by someone else. That's like you go to Walmart, right? And you go through the checkout line and Mandy rings up your items and gives you a receipt and it says you were helped by Mandy today. Do you have a contract for the purchase of those goods with Walmart or with Mandy? Obviously with Walmart. You can't, if the goods are defective, you don't get to go in and sue Mandy who rang you up at Walmart. That's not how that works. Plus, this person was not representing the company. They were suing as the individual. Crazy town. Again, this should have been dismissed right away, but the judge wasn't really listening to my client. And so the judge sent my client without me, which this was maybe a problem too, without me, my client and the other party into this is by Zoom. So into a Zoom room to negotiate a settlement. Said, you guys need to settle this because you won't like what I do. You won't like my ruling. So my client gets in there. I can't advise them because I'm not in there. I'm just stuck sitting there looking at the judge like, hey, what's up, judge? And my client and this other person come out with the agreement that the person will come and finish the job. My client will put the money in escrow and the person will come and finish the job. Okay, I guess that's the thing. Here's the tricky factor, right? So they agree to this. Well, my client is told the guy who did all the work that he's not welcome at the property or he'll call the police. So I send an email to the other party. I send an email to the other party and I say, hey, just so you know, this person is not welcome on the property. So please let me know what, if you plan on using any subcontractors and what date and time you plan to do the work, right? Because you need to know when a contractor is coming to your house to do work so you can actually make sure that they can get in. Well, they don't respond to my email, and I call them and I tell them the exact same thing over the phone. They said they can't talk right now. I said, okay, just respond to my email or call me back. No problem. They never do. Then they go to my client's house a day early without notice and bring the other person. All right. Very weird. They bring the other person who's not allowed at the property, and but my client wasn't home, so they couldn't go in. So I send them a follow-up email. And again, all of these, this is all public. I'm not breaching any confidentiality here. All of this stuff is filed in court. So I sent the follow-up email. It says, hey, I understand that you came by with the person. I must remind you that that person is not welcome on the property. And if they come by again, we may seek legal action. Please let me know any subcontractors you plan to use and give us a date and time. That's all. Very simple. A reasonable request for any contractor. When are you going to show up and do the work? Instead, they don't ever show up to do the work. They don't do it. And write a letter to the court bitching about me threatening them, which it was the nicest threat I've seen I could have possibly written. It's like, we will consider potential legal action. That was it. And so then they said, they'll let the court figure it out. So it's like, okay. So we go to court this morning. We go to court this morning and the judge opens up the thing and immediately asks the person, did you finish the job? And they start going into this long, rambling sort of discussion about everything I just kind of told you in a way that's favored a little bit more towards them. And the judge says, hold on, did you finish the job? And they said, well, no, because they wouldn't let my crew, which is, I should mention this. The contractor that my client hired is the owner of a business that does painting. And this person who was suing my client did not sue on behalf of the business and is not listed as an officer of that business in any way and is, I don't believe, even employed by that business. So we're talking, they literally were just lying to the court. Like that was their whole plan, was to go and lie. So they said, my crew was not allowed to come to the court. It's like, it's not your crew. It's the owner of the company. And so then she says, Mr. Ricada, will you please explain the situation? And so I relayed to the judge what I just told you, basically. You know, back in May, my client said this person was not legally allowed on the property. I sent an email in advance of the work being done, just to remind them of that and to let them know to send us the information on, you know, who would be working there and when they would be there. And they didn't do it. So then she goes back to the other party and says, well, why didn't you do the work? Well, and the judge just goes, case dismissed. You're done. Boom. It was over. It was amazing. It was good times. So 6 minutes. The hearing took 6 minutes and we won the entire case. The only downside is we should have won the case in under 6 minutes originally because it was complete bogus nonsense. But it was, it was baffling. If I had to speculate, I think the judge might have realized what happened in the first hearing and then went ahead and just gotten rid of this, which is the outcome. Again, my client did not want to hire to have these people come continue the work, but the judge was basically indicating, you better work something out or you're not going to like the outcome, which sounded like you're going to pay these people, you know, for your time or for their time or something like that. You're going to have to compensate them for the job that they didn't do. But here's the dumb thing about conciliation court in general. So all of that said, right? If the judge would have ruled against us, it wouldn't have mattered, because any ruling in small claims court, you can actually just appeal to the district court. 21 days, no questions asked, and the case starts over de novo from nothing, of zero. So if the judge had ruled against us, we could just say, nope, we're going to move the district court to invalidate the ruling and start it over. And then we would have properly been able to dismiss the case, because then my client, the judge would have had to recognize me. It wouldn't be at the court's discretion. We could have avoided all of it. But it was small claims court in Minnesota is very, very silly, because it is completely invalid if you want it to be. I don't know if it's in other states, but this is this is the issue that some people may run into with contractors, and you may get someone misrepresenting who they are, or being dumb, or having some other reason why you might not want to bring suit. I don't know what that is. There's any number of speculations that you could come up with on, your own situation. Maybe you'd hired someone whose legal status was, how do we say, sus, right? And maybe that person doesn't want to sue because their legal status is in question. Maybe you hired DSP, right? And DSP doesn't want to sue because then there'd be a record of the payment. And I only take cash. If I have a judgment, then I would claim it on my income. And if I do that, the government's going to take some of it. And it's got to go to the Hulk Hogan unitard. Right? So you got to, but if you're in those situations, you got to figure out what you need to do with the things. But just know that, people file bad lawsuits. They do, in bad faith, and you may have to defend them. There are ways to do it, but it's the one lesson I will say is be on time to every hearing, every single hearing. Because if you're not on time, you could piss the judge off. And that seemed to happen here. Okay. There we go. What's up? Adam Krigler's in the chat. Yeah, he did miss the Tim Pool being weird discussion, but he was in that email thread, or he was in that Twitter thread. He knows what I'm talking about. And I don't think anybody else would know that Tim Pool is weird more than Adam Krigler. Tim certainly doesn't know that Tim Pool is weird as much as Adam Krigler does. Camelot 331 says, sipping on that whiskey. Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? I did pour the 1,000 like shot. Thank you very much. I switched from the Aaron Malt to the Redwood Empire. Okay, let's jump into this. Big Red Bear says, Canadian election result. Nothing happened beyond the Liberals winning again narrowly. PPC got sandblasted, got half as much as optimistic polls gave them. Our Conservatives are already snarling at their current leaders. Well, something's going to have to change in Canada, but so the Trudeau gets to stay, huh? Jason McConnell says, Nick DeLink, I live 5 minutes above Minnesota. I own a business in Minnesota and 3 in Ontario. If you think Minnesota Small Claims Court is a dog's breakfast, come on over and watch this crap. Minnesota's a libertarian paradise to us. I would never, ever want to do any sort of litigation in Canada. Ever. I can't actually bring Adam on easily like I did the other day. I can't do it very easily. Sorry. But I brought him in the other day. We talked about Tim a little bit, but I'm not set up on StreamYard for this. Does he want on the show? I didn't see that. Bring me in, man. Let's go. Oh, yeah, I mean, I can do it. Let's see. Let's I'll message him. Just a second. Wait. Oh my God. Did Google kill Hangouts or whatever? Let's see. Meet. Google Meet. What am I doing? Here we go. New meeting. Get Krigler in. All right, here we go. Give me just a second. We can get this going. I'll get him in. There's that. Hold on. Now I got to set up the OBS thing, so give me just a moment while I get that ready. Whoops. That's not what I want. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Just a second. Hey, what's up, man?
There it is.
Give me just a second. I'll get the camera pulled up. Oh, I got this on backwards. Where are you? You look like you're in a bunker.
I'm at my dad's house in Chicago.
Okay. I'm almost there. Hold on, we got to do this. I gotta get. Oh,
I got myself a fancy like mobile mic.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's great. I like it.
Okay.
Damn, dude, I'm so pissed. I saw you were streaming. I'm like, oh sweet. My man Nick's streaming. And then I look at your title, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. It says Tim Pool is weird.
It does say Tim Pool is weird, and he is.
No comment.
Wait, but you're here to comment. I need you.
Wait, is that
comment?
I was told you don't go back. Someone in chat was like, you missed it. He don't go back.
What are they talking about? I go back all the time. I have no principles, apparently. The chat has told me several times.
Maybe he is.
Come on. Dude, Streamlabs is killing me lately. It is so slow. Okay, deactivate.
Did you see the new Project Veritas shit? I just finished watching it before I popped over here.
I only saw a couple minutes of it.
Oof.
Oh, wait, you're not why are you not coming through? Oh, you are. It's just the... Dude, Streamlabs is garbage lately.
Boomer. I mean, that's what chat's saying. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
someone else is in the northwest suburbs. Right on. What up, everybody? If you're in the Chicagoland area, I'm in Arlington Heights. What up?
Activate the camera. Oh, my God.
I can't see you.
I mean, it's coming. It's coming. I got to just change one more setting. I was not ready for this.
Yeah.
Video. Oh, wait. Yeah, here we go. We just got to do this. Aha!
Hey! There you are.
Hey, there we go. Now let's
What
move
up?
this over so the chat can... there we go. Transition. Oh, my God.
Oh, this guy.
Someday I'll be a real boy, but not today is not that day. Okay. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, you did it. Congratulations.
I'm so proud of me. It's only my
I'm proud
job.
of you. I'm proud of you. Good for you.
Okay, so we're talking that Tim Pool is weird. That's what we're here for. That's what you
Wait.
came.
Hold on. Yeah, that is absolutely why I was drawn to your stream this time. Like, what is going on? Give me some premise though. Like, break it down. Like, why were you talking about? What happened that it was enough to make it a segment on your stream? Like, give me some context here.
Okay, well, oh God.
What?
I swear, not you. It's not you. It's me. I'm rearranging things and it's a disaster.
I see it. Yeah, you're a mess.
I
Hot mess.
fixed it. I fixed everything. I'm a winner. Okay, so you saw what I was talking about actually because you responded on Twitter, no comment.
Okay. You're talking about him versus
Jack, whoever Jack
Murphy.
is. Jack Murphy.
Yeah, dude, Jack Murphy's great.
That's great. I don't know who he is, so
Okay.
I know nothing about Jack Murphy.
Okay, I know Jack. Jack's base as shit. He's awesome.
Apparently not, right? Like he's not based. No, I found out that he's a cuck to his non-principles.
Because of that video?
I'm being hyperbolic, right? Like
okay.
Other people have suggested that that he is not in the correct there. And I think
What do you think?
I think it's really, really tough when you got kids.
Agreed.
Like and especially like his situation makes it even more complicated based on what I learned from the video that he's divorced and there could be a custody fight. As for me, I mean my kids are not currently vaccinated. I have no plans to vaccinate my kids. I think my kids are currently about as safe from COVID as they can be. One, they're kids, right? They have the lowest possible instance of severe adverse reactions to the virus. And I don't know how that compares to potential adverse reactions to the vaccine. I have no idea because we're not really allowed to see the data on it. So I get fully the position that you don't want to, that some people don't want to vaccinate their kids. But I'm not Jack. My kids aren't playing varsity ball that is supposed to open doors, from a D1 school to get into college with scholarships and to potentially mold their future. My kids aren't doing that. I don't have to worry about that. It's really easy for me to say, I'm not going to make that choice. I'm also happily married.
So let's put you in that position though. Let's put you in his. I don't have kids myself, right? But you have kids. So let me ask you, like, say you were divorced, right? You didn't have full custody of your kids. Like, you have to like run it by your wife or your ex-wife, whatever. And also your kid, like, you're Jack Murphy in this situation, right?
Yeah.
And for your kids to continue doing what they love, like they love playing baseball, which it seems like his son is like a baseball freak, like loves baseball, and Jack trained him, and like he's an amazing baseball player, but they're forcing him to get the vaccine. Are you with him as well?
His son is 16.
Right.
To me, what I think I do is I have a very long conversation with my son.
All right.
And I got to take their input. And then depending on what they say, you know, I got to make the choices. I don't know his kids. You know, I know mine.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My oldest is 13.
Okay.
And we homeschool. So it's like, again, such a different equation. And
Totally.
if by some horrific measure, my wife and I were to split up, we both agree that homeschooling is the better solution, right? Like, neither of us like, well, you know, homeschooling's okay, I guess. Both of us are like, no, homeschooling is the way to do it. So it's really hard for me to put myself in that position, but I think a 16-year-old can have some measure of choice, or at least input on the choice.
If you raise them right, you know, I mean, I've known 16-year-olds that are freaking clueless idiots, but then I've met some 16-year-olds that are smart as shit, that I'm like, wow, like you're actually pretty with it. And it's all about, I've met Jack in real life. I've known him for over a year. Like, I've met him many times in my life, and I've never met his kids, but I met Jack, and I know his demeanor, his way of speaking to others is very respectful and very, you know, logic based as well. So I can only assume his kid is aware, is very, like you said, you'd have a long conversation with him. Dude, Jack definitely talks to his kids. Like, you know, like I could see him being like a really great dad and loving his kids and wanting his kids to be, you know, ready for life and be knowledgeable about what they're going to be facing. So I know his kids aren't just going to be like, nah, you know, let me just get it and I'll just keep playing baseball. I'm sure it weighs heavy on him, because I'm sure, you know, Jack fills them in. But see,
and
when I said no comment, I mean, I think I was saying a lot more than, I mean, there's a reason I said it on that exact quote, because I mean, that person's right. All right. I mean, I cut all ties, and I'm kind of like, I don't care anymore. I'm kind of fed up with,
because the comment that you were responding to, if I remember right, I don't have it pulled up, but was something along the lines of, there are no amount of other people's principles that Tim Pool is willing to sacrifice for his own, or no amount of other people's realities that Tim Pool is willing to sacrifice for his principles. Something along that line, right?
I mean, it's no secret that Tim and I disagreed a lot on the show when I was on the show with him, you know, and a lot of the times, my what I like to do was I have empathy for others, you know, like I can never assume that I know what everyone else is feeling or what they're going through, because I'm me, I'm not them, you know? And it's like that conversation between him and Jack was just another example of that. Like, dude, you are so stuck, you're not taking empathy for what Jack is going through. You don't have kids. You don't know what that's like. You're not going through a custody battle either. Like, that's not even so cut and dry that Jack could even make a decision on his own for his kids, because he has to go, you know, because when you're divorced, I don't know exactly Jack's situation, but it was clear from that video that, you know, he didn't have 100% control over his son's life or his, you know, his kid's life.
And you could see him tearing him up. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you're a parent, and I didn't, I mentioned earlier, I can't explain being a parent to someone who's not. I can try, but it always feels flat, right? Like it always feels like a platitude.
Yeah.
But you could see he's trying to listen to Tim and weigh that out. He's like, I got these barriers in my way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as easy as you're making it out to be. And you can almost see, I wish it was. It would be so much easier if I could just do this.
Oh, well, just do this. Oh, it's easy for you to say that, right?
Just buy a farm, Adam.
Just buy a farm. Just go, and have your kids till the farm. It's like, are you serious? Are you serious, dude?
Does Tim own a farm? I heard he owns chickens. But I don't know about the farm thing. Like,
yeah, sure, he's got chickens.
What does that mean? Does he not have chickens?
No, he's he's got chickens, sure. Yeah, he's got chickens. He actually it's funny, he actually cares for them an awful lot. I don't know, man. There's someone who has.
I don't understand this reasoning or this line of speaking, and it's killing me. Like I don't get it. Like, does he go out and pet the chickens or whatever?
Yeah, he plays guitar for them.
You've got to be kidding. Does he sit there and play guitar for the chickens?
I've seen it.
Hello.
He does.
Lay the eggs.
I'm not joking.
I really need an omelet this morning.
Oh my gosh. No, yeah, whatever. I'm torn, right? I've got this, like, people think of me a lot of times and think that I'm like, they think Tim Pool. I would love to separate myself completely from him. I'm so grateful I don't have anything to do with him anymore. I'm grateful for what he gave me as far as a platform.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have a platform if it wasn't for him bringing me on the show, right? On the Timcast IRL show. So, like, I have what I have now because of him. But at what point do I say, like, all right, I'm grateful, but also, like, I have all these grievances, which I do. I have many, and I don't talk about them.
Right.
Because the world doesn't really know what I dealt with, what I was, going through there. And
did he play guitar for you and ask you to lay eggs? Adam.
No.
I'm gonna need an omelet this morning. Please don't make me buy all these fucking chickens.
Yeah, but I also, I want to take the high road, and it's like I don't want to talk shit. I don't want to, like, be that person, but it's like when I hear the way people talk about him, sometimes it irks me because I'm like, oh, like, like you said it, no one knows how weird Tim is more than me. You were right, dude, because I've known him. I was his roommate multiple times. I've known him for 7 years, and like, I don't know, like, dude, I've been through some shit, man, with Tim, and I'm just very happy to be gone from that house. Like, I've never been happier to be moving on and doing my own thing than now. It's good. My life is significantly better now. But yeah, he's got chickens.
Okay, so don't take this the wrong way, but you're probably more similarly situated to Tim than me. Because you don't have kids, right?
I don't have kids, no.
But I
am married,
right?
And I am planning on having kids,
right?
So I'm like one step away,
But okay, how do you talk to Jack about this issue? Because, like, the struggle I have is on the principle itself, on the naked void principle.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with Tim, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be.
You'd force your kids to stop playing?
I don't know. I don't know that.
But that's what Tim was saying. He's like, well, then cut them off.
What I'm saying,
they're done.
What I'm saying is, for me, right? I feel very strongly about the mandate. I feel much more strongly about the mandate than the vaccine itself.
I agree with that.
The primary reason that I am not currently vaccinated is the mandate. If they had not mandated the vaccine, you know, I can't say I would definitely have it, but I also can't say that I wouldn't.
That's not how I feel at all. I didn't want it before. You know, people are like, well, when Trump brought it forward, everyone was about it. I'm like, no, I was never about it. I never wanted. I was never interested. I have an incredible immune system. I'm healthy. I'm good. I didn't like that Trump pushed it as much as he did. That's one
I
of the
didn't
things
either.
I didn't like about him. You
Mhm.
know, it's like it has nothing to do with that. And now with the mandates, I'm like, y'all can go fuck off 100% because I didn't want it before. Now I definitely don't want it. You know, so
Right.
it's like it made it that much more. I'm good. Like you can go fuck yourself. You know,
And I can clarify a little bit.
Mhm.
And the easiest likening I can do is the flu vaccine, right?
Right.
Because
I've never had it. I've never had the flu vaccine.
I've gotten it a couple times because of kids. I mean, frankly, but the flu is more dangerous to like a newborn than COVID is, which is weird, but it just seems to be. And the times that I got the flu vaccine were when my kids specifically got sick with something called RSV, which is a respiratory infection.
RSV.
It's horrifying. You have to sit there with your kid in a hospital bed on a ventilator, and you have to just like watch them and go, you know, I'm pretty sure you're going to get better, but here I am, day 7 in the hospital. Or I don't think it was 7, but like day 3 in the hospital.
You had to deal with that though.
Yeah, and I've had to deal with it a couple times because RSV just goes around. And so when your kid gets RSV, you know, they recommend you get a flu shot, especially if you're going to be sitting in the hospital with your kid, because if they got the flu while having RSV, I mean, it's game over. Like you don't mess around. So like that's a time that I've gotten it. And then another time a relative had a preemie and they're like, this is a preemie and a significant preemie. You just got to get the flu shot. Every time I get the damn shot, I get sick. I hate it. And so I don't get it because of that. But I can't say with certainty that there wouldn't come a situation where I would go, well, I might have to get the COVID vaccine because of like looking at it like the flu vaccine if there were these other factors present. But I live in a small town. We've never really had a big outbreak. We had one run through one nursing home, and that was about it in the whole county. So, I mean, like I'm not in danger. And so I wouldn't be getting it.
I was in Sweden for the summer, and I didn't wear a mask the whole time. I didn't see a mask the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
I was, you know, we were visiting my girl's family, and it's like they got vaccinated, but like it was normal life. And it turns out they never locked down at all. No businesses closed. The old people people were like, don't go near the old people. They're at risk. They get vaccinated first. Anyone else want to get vaccinated, you can get vaccinated, but that's the extent of it. There was no
how it
mandate.
should have been.
Exactly.
Absolutely how we should have done it.
Life felt normal there. And guess what? I wasn't vaccinated. I didn't get it, nor did I spread it. Right? But they're like saying that I'm some sort of a threat. You know, it's crazy.
But did you cough into an envelope and mail it to, like a third world country and kill the whole country? Like you're you got the bubble wrapped envelope and you're like, please send this to Belize. I hear a bunch of rich expats that are older there, and I'm really pissed off at them.
Oh my goodness!
And can you send a couple to the Maldives, please? But yeah,
you know, it's written in their constitution. The Swedish constitution, you're not allowed to, you cannot stop people from gathering because that's how dictators are formed. Dictators stop people from talking and keep information from spreading. So Sweden didn't lock down because it's in their constitution that they can't keep people from meeting. That's why they never locked down.
It's in ours too, but we have
right it is.
We have such a cucked Supreme Court that all of our things that says shall not be infringed or it is illegal, Congress shall make no law. They're like, well, except for these though. Like except for these laws.
It's an emergency.
God damn it.
Dude, I know.
See, I hate that about the Supreme Court. It's like, well, But these are reasonable restrictions. It's like, no, they didn't write unless if it's reasonable, you can undo the absolute bar on passing laws.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't think I didn't read that anywhere.
yeah,
In the
Congress
Constitution.
shall make no law unless. I'm like, no, that's not in there.
Well, maybe. Jeez.
Yeah, and see that's what really pisses me off about this situation is there would be no issue, zero issues if the government just said, you know what, we're really pushing for these companies. We've got some incentives for them to come up with a vaccine. We're going to thoroughly test it. We're going to make it available experimentally for people who want it. We're going to put it out there. We think it's a good idea to do it. Here's the data on it. You make your choices with your doctor and see if it's the right thing to do. We have some faith in American ingenuity of these big companies that have great track records with producing vaccines. I'm making this up as I go, but we have great faith in this. And there you go. Here's the option on the table. No one would have any problem with this. But the second you're like, well, you know, just not enough of you are doing this. So now if you want to go to a restaurant or a movie or a dance club, you have to have one of two things. You either have to have a vaccine or you have to be a governor or a mayor.
Right.
If you're a governor or a mayor, you don't have to have a vaccine or a mask or anything. But if you're anybody else,
or if you work at the White House, or if you work at any of the places that are making it, or the USPS, or man, what are the other places? The White House,
Pfizer itself,
Pfizer itself isn't.
Although
dude,
I've heard someone fact checked the White House claim and said that White House employees are required to get it.
Oh,
but
really?
When I read the fact check, I couldn't really find how they determined that. So
emotional. It's their emotional side.
Yeah,
that's where it came from.
Well, they must be mandated. Like it has to have happened. But I couldn't. I was like, oh, this is interesting because, like, I've seen this claim, and if someone has got like the law that says that the White House employees have to be vaccinated, I want to read that, and then I go through and I'm like, it doesn't really say that though. It's just debunked.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
These people, man.
So yeah, that was my problem with Tim. That's why I think Tim is weird. Is one, he had seemingly no ability to empathize with Jack's position. And it was the way he delivered it. He's like,
you could just scratch with Jack's opinion.
Yeah, no ability to empathize, right?
Period.
Do you have you watched The Expanse?
Love that show. Great show.
So is Tim Amos without the muscles?
No, not even, dude. No, Amos is no, because Amos, dude, I can't say anything without getting in trouble here. I'll just say no. I don't think so. No, I like Amos. Amos is he's cold.
You've said enough. No, I'm just kidding.
I've said a lot. No, Amos is cold and brutal, but also he definitely still cares for others, but he picks and chooses who those others are. You know what I mean?
He cares based on his own system. It's actually it's weird because it's not an empathy system. It's a different thing. It's like reliability and trust. I don't empathize with this person because I can't. However, I trust them to make decisions that are in the best interest of me and themselves. Therefore, I will follow with it. And he also had that interesting. I'm only through the first season, but he has that really interesting conversation with the spy where he's like, we're just part of the churn, man. Right. And these other people will make decisions and will be the guys who die for it. But that's how it goes. Too bad. You're part of the churn.
Right.
But
it's cool.
Yeah, I like
he's a cool
I do
character.
too. He's great. And the show so far is good. I hear the last season's not as good, but I'm not there yet, so it doesn't matter.
The first season is amazing. The second season's pretty awesome too. I stopped watching it after like the fourth season, I think. It just I really like the cop, the guy with the side cut.
The Punisher.
The Punisher looking dude.
Well,
I like him a lot.
He played the Punisher in the
the original Punisher.
No, the original Punisher's Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, okay. The second movie then, I
Yeah,
guess?
yeah.
I don't know.
Thomas
I know what
Thomas
you're talking
Jane,
about.
right? Is his name? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, he played the Punisher in the second movie, in I think the third one, and then
Okay.
Punisher Warzone was played by the guy who played Pullo from Rome, and Punisher Warzone's one of the funniest movies ever made.
I don't know that one.
You've got to watch it.
Is it? Okay, I'll check it out.
He there's a parkour gang, and a guy's doing a side flip from building to building, and he shoots him with a fucking missile launcher.
The Punisher hits him with a missile?
Yes. Punisher Warzone is one of the greatest movies of any generation.
Okay.
It deserves to be watched.
I got some movies on my list I got to take care of. First one I need to see is They Live.
And then
I haven't seen that one yet.
So the second thing that bothered me about it, not to talk about Tim too much, but that's what attracted you to the show, is
True.
the buy a farm comment was just so detached from reality. And so then I was wondering, and that's why I'm asking if he has a farm, like, because I know he has the chickens. That's all I've heard. But I heard some
farm. It's a compound, dude.
Right.
It's a compound. That's what it is.
So he doesn't have, like, he's not got like 100 acres of farmland that he's tilling and planting and then selling crops at the market or whatever.
Yeah, but he's also he's you said it. He's just detached from reality, man. He lives in his own bubble. He lives in Tim Pool world. That's
well,
it.
it's like so there's the let them eat cake comment, right? It was actually let them eat brioche, but there's a Chinese dictator a while back, and this was before communism, or no, I think it was during communism, and people were complaining in the province about the rice crop was bad, right?
Okay.
And so all the peasants are whining that there's not enough rice, and so the guy says, "Why don't they just eat beef?" Right? It's like none of these people could afford beef, but he was serious. He's like, "Well, why don't they just eat beef?" And that's what I went to when Tim said buy a farm. I'm like, oh, just buy a farm. Like, oh yeah, just drop like $6 million on a plot of farmland and some equipment and start going for it. Just you know everything about farming. It's something you could just pick up in your late 30s. Just go ahead and go ahead and start planting. You know all about fish blood and various nitrates.
I think Jack's like in his 40s something or other. I don't know. It's like which is even worse. Like
you can read the wiki on it.
Yeah, I don't know how old Jack is, but he's older than me and I'm almost 40. It's like, dude, he's to just say that, it's just like you clearly don't get it. You clearly are just being I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure if Tim's saying it to I don't want to say the devil's advocate because that's just like the other side of things, but I don't know what the term would be to just like poke and prod, for the point of prodding.
The instigator, the
instigation of it,
Yeah.
like, is that what he's doing? Does he really believe it? Because I'm not really sure. Because like I sat across Tim for months on end and we argued all the time because I'm very, I stand firm on what I believe. And then I'm not sure if he was, and I know him well, I don't know if he is just doing it to try to like poke holes in my beliefs or what I was saying. I don't know. Cause sometimes he would be like, I'm wrong. And then would literally say the same shit I was saying in a different way. And I'd be like, what the fuck, man? Like, that's literally what I just said. What? How am I wrong? And I feel like he just wanted to like push the conversation, which is good in a sense. As a podcaster, you should do that. Jordan Peterson actually does that a lot. I can't believe I'm putting those two. I do not think they're on the same level. For the record.
What you have to do is you have to clean your room. You have to pull your shoulders back, walk with your head upright, and buy a farm.
Dude. Yeah. Well, if you watch Jordan Peterson when he talks to people, he gets them to explain things very well, but it's not in a asshole way, you know what I mean? In a unempathetic way. He's like, I understand what you're saying. What do you mean by that? Instead of no, you're wrong. Buy a farm. It's totally different.
Yeah,
Man.
that's a weird thing. Well, we don't have to keep talking about Tim. What are you talking about these days, man?
What am I talking about? I mean, shit, I don't know.
You're here in front of the Taliban, you can't know my location background.
No, I'm at my dad's house in Chicago. My cousin's getting married this weekend, so I came out to hang out with my dad and my family here. So I just kind of like, this is they had no spot that I could set up a show, and I don't know. It's just like the upstairs in my dad's house, and I was like, yeah, I'll just get like a couple. This is just like a.
He's definitely not in a
curtain.
cave in Afghanistan. Definitely
No.
not. It's
I'm not in a
perfect.
cave. I'm in Chicago, hanging out with my family here. It's good to see. I just saw two of my best friends. It was cool. They happened to be in town this weekend. Wasn't planned. They both, one lives in Florida, one lives in North Carolina, and both of them happened to be in Chicago when I got here. It was just like, it's been awesome. So gotta love that.
But so you watched the Veritas thing.
Yeah, dude.
What's
Wow.
your take on it? Because it's part 1, and I only saw a couple minutes, but it looked really spicy.
I mean, I watched it and I'm just like, yep, that's exactly what I thought. It's just kind of like showing the other side, where it's like an actual doctor talking about stuff that I've already believed, and I'm like, yep,
Right.
that's how I feel. I can't even
Well, but
I
it's
can't
not
even
a
say what they were talking about because I don't want to risk your channel. That's how spicy that shit is.
Yeah, that's the thing. People are like, cover that, and I'm like, I have to watch through that and figure out
Right.
how to even talk about it before I can do it here. I might have to do it on locals. or whatever,
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's spicy, dude.
I mean, the one thing
I've gotten
is
strikes for saying the shit that they're saying.
the one thing is it's not a real doctor, right? We know it's not a real
It's not?
doctor. No, because Biden told us that those were not real medical professionals. If they don't, if they don't toe the line of the government, they're not
Oh.
real medical professionals at that point. So,
Right.
so we know it's not a real doctor. So Veritas, they're kind of lying or whatever. Just they're.
What's Latin for lies?
Uh,
What is it, chat? You guys know?
Not Veritas.
Project Naritas.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. What about the
know.
Fed rally? Did you go to the Fed rally?
Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
Or you weren't hanging out with your boys?
Hell no.
With
No.
with the Glock in the pocket Fed crew? I want to know where I get my government issued Ray-Bans.
Dude, before I even I started making jokes about it before, like at the beginning of the day, because everyone was saying like, don't go. Trump even came out and said, don't go. It's a trap, like a honeypot. No one, don't go. Please don't go. And all the circles that I'm in that love Trump and will go and actually show up to those kind of rallies are like, dude, no one goes.
Yep.
Please don't go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. And I made a joke on I found the picture of the Spider-Man pointing at each other, and I just wrote FBI, 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 and I was like, live look of today's rally in DC. And I said it as a joke. And then someone sent me a freaking picture.
The picture of the feds.
The Fed looking at the he pulled the badge out of the other guy's pocket, and I'm like, they are literally arresting each other. There was one Trump supporter with a flag that was crying because they were all alone, and the rest of them were.
I don't feel safe,
dude. It was like feds and reporters, and that was 90% of the people that were there.
You know what we have to do? We have to someone has to do this. I don't know anybody in DC. I've never been there. But next year on September 18th, they have to have GlowCon or FedCon or whatever, where everybody shows up dressed like a Fed, right?
Wearing those Ray-Bans
and
shorts.
Yeah, the tight jean shorts with bulging shit in your pockets. It doesn't have to be a Glock if you or whatever. You just put something wear some keys and a couple Ridge wallets or something in there, and then your phone in your other pocket. And you got to have the big ass tactical wristwatch on.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, you gotta have the speaker come up and like, sit there and be like, all right, we're gonna have some breakout sessions coming up. We're gonna have those in 30 minutes. And Mark,
you gotta have the earpiece. Everyone's gotta have earpieces. You gotta coordinate. Oh my goodness!
Why is everybody walking around with Beats head? Oh, okay, okay, I got it.
Only Feds. Yep.
That would be so funny if someone
Dude,
did GlowCon.
That's pretty good. GlowCon. That's pretty good.
Oh, jeez.
Hell yeah.
But so what else is going on though? I mean, because like that seems to be the big news. There are protests against the lockdowns going on in Netherlands and Australia.
Dude,
or not
everywhere.
the lockdowns,
Canada,
the mandates.
Ireland, New York City. I mean, it's everywhere, man. The media is not reporting on it.
Okay, did you see this story? I was talking about it before you popped in. But it was it's happened in Beverly Hills. They looted a safety deposit box store. The feds did. They raided.
The feds did.
Yeah, FBI raids a safety deposit box store and confiscates $86 million in cash and jewelry and other trinkets. And this is
from who?
This is a couple months back, and they said it was all drug money, right? So they asset forfeiture all of it. And now, as it turns out, like over 300 people have filed to get their stuff back, citing that you have no evidence that this has anything to do with drugs or anything.
Yeah.
But the story to me is just, it's amazing because it's like they just walked up and took it. And the one I saw today was a guy, he's like a cook or something, but he's been doing something and saving up cash. And so he had $57,000 in cash in the safe deposit box.
Damn.
And the Fed said, that's too much money. He had to get it. Oh, wait, he takes bottles and he's an artist and he makes them into bongs.
Okay.
He doesn't sell weed or anything. And reminder, this is California, so like that's not a big problem. But they said, well, he makes bongs, therefore it must be drug related because there's no way he could have this much money on his income.
Wow.
I just remembered the bong thing. I should have mentioned it earlier, but
dude, that's so messed up.
Yeah, you should look into it because like that story is crazy. And civil asset
I haven't
forfeiture.
seen that at all. Where'd you find that story?
Well, I saw it back when it happened, when they did the raid, and I was like, civil asset forfeiture is bullshit. Because it's the one issue, like, you can have the most, like, back the blue person ever. But you go, but actually, though, let me tell you about civil asset forfeiture. If you're going through an airport and you have $12,000 in cash on you, that is suspicious, and they will say that you are buying drugs, and they will confiscate your $12,000 in cash. You have to declare it, right? Like you have to tell them that you're traveling with that much money, which to me seems like, yeah, exactly. But they say that, well, nope, that's a drug deal that's going to happen. So and that story comes from a guy who he was flying with 17 grand in cash. Yeah. He owned a used car store, and he would travel to auctions to, you buy the car. And then you pay it in cash, and then you have to haul it back. So the guy had 17 grand. They're like, nope, that's ours. And they forfeited it, said it was a drug deal. And he's like, I'm a used car salesman. I'm worse than a drug dealer, but it's not illegal. And so they took his money. So that's why I like this Beverly Hills story. And you know why they hit Beverly Hills, right? Oh, it's these rich assholes. Yeah. And so you don't get the type of sympathy that you do for other people. But turns out not everybody there's a rich asshole.
You know that line, taxation is theft?
Yeah.
They just got rid of the taxation, just went straight for the theft.
Yeah, civil asset forfeiture is one of the worst issues in law enforcement. And it's universal. The left and the right both go, yeah, I don't see why, because you can have your assets forfeited and never be charged with a crime. And so you never get to actually have the state prove their case. They can just say, well, this is drug money. You're not charged, but it's mine now.
They could just say it.
Yeah.
Just, what is it? Like 10,000 is like the limit? If it's over 10,000, it's drug money or something?
Oh, no. They'll civil asset forfeiture $200 from you if you get... Yeah, if you get stop and frisked on a street
Yeah.
in the wrong neighborhood, like this
Okay.
is a drug neighborhood, buddy. What are you doing walking around with $200? Don't you know you'll get mugged? It's like first person to mug me is you, Fed, or whatever. And so
Yeah.
they'll take it, and
Jeez.
they say it is drug money. They don't have to have any evidence. They just have to have some level of suspicion, and then it's on you to pay to fight to get it back. So you got to hire a lawyer. You got to go after the money. Guess what? You don't get your legal fees when you beat the government on a civil asset forfeiture. You just get your stuff back. So if they steal $500, you're gonna pay $5,000 to a lawyer to fight it.
Right. Nope.
Yeah. So it's one of those issues where left and right can unite on that one and say this is a big problem with law enforcement.
Will
Stop
they, though?
taking stuff. They do. I mean,
Okay. That's good.
Both sides actually oppose it, and even there are politicians on both sides. Not enough, but there are some who are actually fighting against it or trying to limit it. It's insane.
That sounds awful lot like guilty until you go fuck yourself.
Let's be honest. That's the entire criminal system right now.
All right. Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever seen a criminal defendant and you go, the system says that guy's innocent, so he sure looks innocent, right? When they show up in court in the handcuffs, the foot cuffs, and the orange jumpsuit,
Right.
and they're like, "Sorry, I couldn't pay my $750,000 bond for the drug deal I'm accused of, please,
Right.
but I feel really innocent right now. Can I have my state-appointed idiot to defend me? Can that happen, please? Please, judge, please allow me to have an attorney to represent me in my third hearing now, so that I can have my rights respected." Like, just, oh God, I that whole like presumption of innocence, I believe in it firmly, and I think as a society we need to recondition ourselves, because it took me a while. When I used to see someone pulled over by the cops, I would go, wonder what they did, right?
Right.
And I had to, my subtle change was changing that from I wonder what they did to I wonder why the officer pulled them over,
Right.
because that's a different question, and it's an
Yeah.
important distinction, because
It's true.
you look at someone getting their car searched and you're like, that guy's fucked.
Yeah.
He's
I
got
mean, I've been pulled over where I had a new car. Well, it wasn't new, it was used, but it was new for me, and I had it for maybe a week. And the cop pulled me over, and it was at night, and he walks up, and I was like, I wasn't speeding or anything. He had actually pulled someone else over, and I was kind of going slow around them because it was like a smaller road. And I guess they had just finished because the cop pulled out right after and flicked his lights on, and I'm like, what the hell did I do? Like, I was being respectful. I was going slow around them, like I wasn't speeding or anything.
Yeah.
And he came up to my car, and I'm like, what's the deal? And he's like, hey, your rear tail lights are not on. Like, you have no lights on. And I was like, really? Like, I just got this car. Like, I don't know. And he was like, oh, all right, give me your license or whatever, and let me just make sure like the car is good. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Wasn't doing anything wrong. And I started fiddling with my lights because I was like, what's going on? And the car, it's a WRX. I still have it. But it was
a Subaru.
Yeah, Subaru. It has a bunch of aftermarket stuff on it, and a
You're
turbo timer, a
you're
turbo
lucky-
tuner.
You're
What?
lucky. You're lucky it's a WRX. If it were any other Subaru, I would ask you how long you've been a lesbian. But
I love that car.
no,
It's faster
WRXs are
faster
cool.
than yours.
That's what I'm saying. You're lucky it's a WRX because that's the only cool Subaru. If it was a Forester, I would be
Yeah.
mailing you flannel shirts already.
No, I love my WRX. That thing is fast as shit. And it's beasted up. But the cop walked back, and he was like, "Hey, the lights turned on." And I was like, "Oh, cool." Because it turned out that I can actually trip the back of the rear lights. For some reason, I could turn them off.
Okay.
Which was kind of cool in a way, because I knew how to do it once I figured out. But he was like, "Oh, all right, well, I guess you're good. Have a great night." And he let me go. But it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. He didn't give me a ticket or anything. I drove away. Like, it was kosher. But people going by were probably like, that guy was probably racing. Because, the WRX looks like a beast. It is a beast. So, it's interesting how people would probably have just assumed that I was speeding or that, I was doing something wrong, when in reality it was just something was wrong with my car, and the cop was actually helping me because I didn't know there was no rear lights. I could have gotten hit because no one would have known I was braking or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's always interesting when you get pulled over. I
Yeah.
always get pulled over for doing something wrong. Like I'm not getting pulled over by accident most of the time.
Well, that was
which-
the only time that
what's-
I got pulled over for not doing anything wrong.
Well, the interesting thing is when I was younger, I would get pulled over for stuff that was impossible.
Like what?
Okay, so I had a 1995 Ford Escort. That was my first
Okay.
car, right?
All right.
4 cylinders on a good day. And I was driving on this road. It was in Lakeville, Minnesota, which is where I went to high school and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was driving this car, and this was after high school though. I'm married. I'm married to Lady Rackets. She's in the car next to me, and we have someone in the back seat because it was from a church youth group thing, and we were kind of like youth liaisons. I don't know.
Okay.
So we're driving with this person, and full stop at a stoplight. Light turns green. It is uphill, and I start going in this Ford Escort. Cop pulls me
Stick
over.
shift or automatic?
Automatic.
Okay.
Automatic. 4-speed transmission, 4-cylinder, or whatever. And I get pulled over by this cop probably a half mile away, and the cop says, "I clocked you at 73 in a 55." And I said, "No, no, you did not." First of all, this car I don't think can even do that. Uphill from a dead stop and a half mile. I'm pretty sure that this car, and I must make the thing here. It's a 95 Ford Escort, but this is probably 2005 or 2006 that this is happening.
So this thing's 10 years old at least.
Right. And I'm like, I don't think my car can actually do that. And he's looking at me. I said, "Oh, you're serious?" Like, "No, buddy, there's no way." I'm like, first, and plus, like, I would have to be flooring it. My wife would have been freaking out at why I'm flooring it and driving like a maniac.
Right.
And even so, it's a golf cart, man. What are you talking about? He gave me the ticket. Like, he gave me that ticket. I was like, you gotta be, there's no way this car goes uphill 73 miles an hour unless I have like a 10-mile lead up.
Yeah.
But I got pulled over for shit like that all the time. And I was like, but now every time I get pulled over, I am definitely doing the wrong thing and I never get a ticket. It's amazing.
Right. Oh, that's nice at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been pulled over a couple times, and
How many tickets do you, how many speeding tickets do you have under your belt? Total.
I only got one speeding ticket.
What?
One. Yeah. I'm thankful for my radar detector.
Oh, okay. Sure. One cop thought I had a radar detector because my car made stupid noises. He's like,
yeah,
"Is that
they're
a
not legal in all states.
He's like, "Well, they're legal in Minnesota, but if you have one, you're getting a ticket." Like,
They're like,
yeah. He's like, "Is that a radar detector?" I'm like, "Buddy, I don't have a radar detector. If I plug the radar detector into this, if I plug it into this car, it won't go. Too much of a power draw on this battery."
Yeah.
I actually lost a cylinder on that car, so it was a 3-banger for a while.
You weren't joking.
No, that thing was garbage. I drove that thing into the dirt.
But it still worked. Good shit.
I have 9 speeding tickets.
Wow.
That I've actually received. Because when you go through law school and you go to apply for, like, you pass the bar or whatever, you still have to be admitted. And as part of your application, you have to write down every criminal act that you have ever done, no matter how petty.
Damn.
And
you mean the ones that they know about?
every criminal act that you've had an interaction with the state.
Right. Okay.
And so they're like, and believe me, they tell you this. They're like, believe me, they'll know. And so you're like, oh my fucking God, I got to figure out where I got to. So you go back and you're like getting all the traffic tickets you've got over the past decade.
Man. Parking tickets too? Shit.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But 0 because I am police chief. It says pure blood.
I saw that.
I mean, what do you think about the pureblood thing?
Is that something to do with like vaccinated versus
The
non-vaccinated?
unvaccinated people are calling themselves purebloods, and people are getting pissed off at it.
That's pretty funny, actually.
It's
I
good.
mean,
It's good. I like it.
I mean, I can't. I want to say some shit, but I can't. I don't want to risk your channel. You know what I mean? Like,
You're the
I,
nicest guest.
dude. I've gotten strikes for what I want to say right now about that. You know. Well, I'll just say that I I like it, and that I'm a pureblood.
Yeah, you got a strike the other day, right?
No. I haven't had a strike for. I lost both of my strikes.
Okay, I thought you
back
got
down
one
in
the
there.
other day. I didn't know if it was like a mistake or something, but I felt like you had gotten one, but I must be thinking of someone else.
No, it wasn't me. No.
I must be thinking of someone much more based and red pilled. I'm joking.
Oh no. I think Karlin Borisenko got a strike recently.
Yeah, and she's like she's not on the right.
No, I would say she's in the middle. She's pretty.
I mean, she's her socially pretty liberal, but she's like one of those waking up people, right?
I feel like she is angry at everyone because she has certain views that differ from both sides, and both sides are like, well, you differ from these views, so like we don't like you. And it's like, that sucks, you know?
She did something the other day, and this is literally the only. I'm not familiar with her actual content or anything.
Yeah.
I just know of her, but she did do something the other day where I was like, "That's shitty." That she did.
What was it? Do you remember?
I felt like it was some sort of cancel culture style thing, is what my brain is telling me, but I don't remember what it was. I just remember seeing it on Twitter, and I was like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Well, her whole thing is critical race theory anti-white, and she is like really against the term anti-white because she's saying that like actual white supremacists are using it as ammunition to recruit people who are against
Maybe that's what it was.
Critical race theory. And I understand her point, but at the same time, I mean, I am not a white supremacist, and I think it's anti-white because they're making. I mean, critical race theory teaches people that white people are the problem, and it's like that's kind of what. I mean, that's what it is. It's sure it's racist towards everyone, yeah, of course, but in the same sense, it's also anti-white. I mean, that's just what I believe. You know, sorry.
So if I'm being like the most forgiving on the subject that I possibly can, I would say that critical race theory doesn't necessitate anti-white.
Okay.
Like it if you take it out of the United States and apply it into a country that is majority black, or like South Africa, for example. Right? Like you could.
Are you sure you want to choose South Africa because they're? I mean, do you know much about South Africa right now? Okay.
But see, no, South America right now is very anti-white.
Okay,
right?
South America.
No, South Africa.
Oh, okay, South Africa.
So South Africa right now is very anti-white, right?
Right now? No, I'm sorry. They've been anti-white for a long time.
But right now they are too, right? Like so what I'm going to say is
they're being bold about it anyway.
If you take critical race theory and apply it to South Africa, you could, in theory, take the white perspective because the power structure is in the hands of non-whites, right? So you could then utilize critical race theory from a white perspective, hypothetically. I'm not saying that this is being done. I'm saying that if you take everything out of the theory and divorce yourself from the West and go to this specific instance, you could do it. Or if you apply critical race theory, let's say in China, for example, you don't have a white ethnicity dominance in China. You have multiple Asian ethnicities that you could apply. So I'm saying that, like, if I'm being super charitable, you could do that, but that's not what's happening, right? Critical race theory is being applied only in Western cultures,
Right.
and it's only being applied against whites. So I think it's reasonable to say that it is anti-white.
Right, it is. At least that's how I feel. And she's just like, we cannot use that term because she's like, she's okay with saying it's prejudice against white people. And I'm like, the it's yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. It's anti, I mean, it's simply racist. Yeah, I agree. But making white people the boogeyman, the reason the problems exist. And someone actually super chatted me while we were having a debate about this. And someone said, "Hey, well, were the Nazis anti-Jew?" Or anti-Semitic. And I didn't think about it at the time, like the correlation. But now I'm like, I mean, they were, right?
Yeah,
But
I mean, kind
they
of.
were kind of. I mean, they were blaming the Jewish population for all the problems, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. I mean, people get all bent out of shape when you compare things to that era, but I mean, if you look at it, like you read the words, the way that they were portraying these people, it's like they're the problem. They're the reason why other people can't get ahead in this world, and it's because of them. And like, which era am I talking about? You could just enter in white people or Jewish people, and it's almost the same conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, they seemed awfully anti-Jewish in that era, and look what happened.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They had some policies that were
Mhm.
maybe discriminatory mildly.
Yeah. Right.
But no,
we know where that led. Shit.
And so what's interesting is if you well, no, I guess that would be the place where critical race theory maybe would be like, yeah, the white people. I mean, but it wasn't. It's weird because it's not universal, right? There's a specific ideology driving it. It's almost like you can't say that a race in general is a monolith in either direction because they're not.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I'll talk about this stuff, which I never really talk about it. But whenever race comes up, I always stand firm with, I mean, what I learned from Martin Luther King, because he taught we need to treat people on the character of their person, not the characteristics of their skin, because you can't change that. People can change their character, and their character is what truly makes a person. I don't care what your skin color is. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. If you're respectful and a honest, pleasant human being, I'm going to return and treat you as such, because anybody, I don't care what your skin color, can be an asshole, can be an evil fucking dickhead, but anyone also has the same ability to be an amazing, incredible, compassionate, empathetic human being. And it has absolutely nothing to do with skin color. And that's what I hate about critical race theory, because they're pitting white people as the problem while telling everyone else, you all can't do anything. You're all like victims. They're victimizing everyone and then putting the blame on white people. And I'm just so sick of it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because it puts, and this is the method of it, right? Like, this is the nefarious purpose behind the usage of critical race theory, is because it puts people like you or me or whoever into the shoes of defending bad people, right?
Right.
Like it's like, well, if you defend the whites, what about the Jews in Germany? And you're like, yeah, but I didn't do that. I don't endorse that. And it's like, but if you don't trust critical race theory, then you do. And it's like, no, I'm just defending that. Like, just because someone's white doesn't mean that they're automatically evil.
Right.
Like, Because I thought we had gotten through this a long time ago where we were like,
We did.
Just because someone's black doesn't mean they're automatically evil. And it's like,
Mhm.
but now whiteness does mean evil. So it's like,
You know Tom McDonald?
no, who's that?
He's a Canadian rapper.
I definitely don't then.
Honestly, he's one of the more talented rappers that I've ever listened to.
Now that you mention it, I think
yeah.
I've heard his name.
Yeah, Tom McDonald. He's got a song called White Boy, and it is, I mean, it is awesome. Honestly, you should do yourself a favor and listen to that song. He's got a lot of like really good shit calling out the fucking bullshit that we're going through. The cancel culture, the music industry, the rappers convincing people to blow all their money on alcohol and women, and I don't know. No, he calls out dude, I really like Tom McDonald a lot. I really respect his lyrics, and his music is really good. But there's specifically what we're talking about. He's got a song called White Boy, and it's awesome. He he talks about like being white, and like you can't label me a racist because my skin color, or because like like someone way up my like ancestry, whatever, may have owned slaves. Like you don't even know. I don't know. It's just it's good. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about Tom's being awesome. Good shit.
So he's a white rapper.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good.
Don the Gamer guy did
really
actually. He called you out in chat though. He said that the best rap song is actually "Informer" by Snow, another white rapper. So
I don't know it. I'll check him out.
Really?
Was that a joke?
You don't know Informer by Snow from like 1992?
No, what is that?
From his hit album 12 Inches of Snow.
Oh my god, no. What am I missing?
It's just this old fucking silly
I feel
song.
like this always happens with you. You're like, oh, you don't know about this crazy thing?
It's just
suddenly there's like balls somewhere.
It was like this super popular fucking weird song in the 90s, man. Informer. And it's got like this, it's like
I gotta listen to this after
it's like
the
a
show.
white guy rapping to like a reggae beat. Oh god, it's so bad. I love it. I owned that album.
Oh my god, just the look of this video. He's got love written across his chest. What the hell?
It's the 90s, the early 90s. It was like, we're trying to just barely get away from the 80s just a little bit, and that's what they came up with. God, I wish I could play that shit. That's what I hate about YouTube. I wish I could just play this stuff live because it's so funny.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it after the show.
Let's see.
Hilarious.
Let's get. Let me read a couple of these chats. Some of them pertain to you. Jason Schreiner says Adam just nailed the name of the event. Only Feds. Richard Pierce says safe deposit box, not safety. You swine. It's a safism deposit box. Trump Willis is my name. Says Nick, how do you feel about government contracts for private attorneys instead of a court-appointed one? Just an idea. I haven't fleshed it out yet. They kind of have this in my area. You don't necessarily get a public defender, but you can get an appointed private defender. But the attorneys that do it have to agree to take cases that are, you get $40 an hour. And that sounds like a lot to people who aren't attorneys, but when the going rate for attorney services in a town is $150 to $200 an hour for just a normal, like, not partner attorney, then $40 an hour attorney is like, usually it's new guys doing it. I never did the government appointed. That sounds terrible. I wanted to charge a little bit more than that. Jason McConnell says, congrats to Adam for leaving the shallow end of the pool. By shallow, I mean Tim's half Asian penis. By end, I mean his little half Asian penis. Jesus.
Holy shit, dude. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Texas Red said, when I owned my GTI, I was pulled over 4 times in Round Rock. Read shithead cops, where a drug dog triggered. I am as sober as the day I was born. They never found anything, but I never got a ticket, so there is that. That's I should mention that the guy who they confiscated the $57,000 from the safety deposit box, get triggered bigots. They said a drug dog indicated an unknown drug substance on the cash. That's what they said. They're like, well, a drug dog indicated it on the cash.
Unknown.
Yeah, they couldn't tell you which one. Well, they're like, the dog can't talk. I mean, what do we know? It could be weed, could be meth, could be,
Hungry.
Right. We could have tapped on the cash to indicate to the dog that it should trigger.
Bark here.
They do that shit. That's what I hate about it. That's what I hate about the drug dog thing. It's like the drug dogs react to the owner or to the cop, I guess, not to what they're actually indicating. And there's all sorts of studies about it, but whatever. Yorick says, to Adam's point, when Milo was doing a speech at Berkeley, there was a marvelous troll who replaced Tiny Hat with White in a section of one of the Führer's speeches, and the leftist protest crowd cheered. Alex Jones is right. Yeah, so some troll replaced Jew with White from a Hitler speech.
Wow.
And the left crowd was like, yeah, get him.
Yikes.
Oh, God.
It doesn't surprise me, though.
Doesn't surprise me either. I mean, why would it surprise anybody? Again, the left has been conditioned to be opposed to whiteness, and especially if they're white, to hate their own whiteness.
Crazy. The
weird thing is, I remember, okay, so I used to live in Houston, Texas when I was little, up till I was 10. And I lived in a real, right next to a real shitty area. And my grandparents lived in a pretty shitty area too. And my grandma and I would walk from their house to the local grocery store, Randall's. It was about 3 or 4 blocks, not a big deal. But I remember when I was a kid seeing white power written on the wall of the handicap ramp up to the Randall's sidewalk, right?
Dang.
I didn't know what that meant or anything. And I was like, what's that? And my grandma was like, whatever. And so, but I still remember seeing that. That was my first exposure to probably what I would consider racism that I remember.
Yeah.
But I had no context for it. And so then years later, I see black power as a thing. And I'm like, so wait, is white power okay? And they're like, no. And I'm like, but is black power okay? And they're like, yes. I was like, wait, this doesn't add up to me. This doesn't ever make sense. But that conditioning, that white power is a bad thing, has been around forever. And so the thing that they've done is they've inculcated an entire group of people, multiple generations, to be afraid to defend their own race. And it's not really them defending their race, just literally defending themselves as not having some inherent characteristic based on their skin color. People are like, I can't do that. If I suggest that my whiteness is okay, I'm bad. And that's I
don't even see that, but that's something though. That's almost like adhering to what they're talking about. Because I don't give a shit that I'm white. I don't talk about it. I don't make it part of my,
well, that's your privilege and power. That's your privilege plus power, right? Because
I also don't give anyone else that. I don't say, oh wow, you're a black person. That's so weird to think about. I go, hey, what's up? And I get the vibe from someone oh, if they're cool. That's what I think of. I don't look at someone and go, the first thing I think of is what color their skin is. No, it's are they making eye contact with me? Do they seem like they care to talk to me? Oh, they do. Cool. It doesn't enter in that race should be a part of that equation for me. And it's they say it has to. You have to make race part of every equation, every single interaction. And it's no, you guys are the reason that it is becoming such a problem because you're forcing it down everyone's throat. And I'm so fed up with that. I don't want to even entertain the idea at all, because it's almost letting them win. Like even entertaining it is suddenly now acknowledging that they're even right in the slightest. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get you, but remember how earlier I said that like you're closer to Tim than me?
Okay.
And I don't know if
I
this is closer
guess.
to Tim because I assume that he's a racist. But but for
Okay.
me,
He's not.
I walk around and I don't say hello to people. I say their skin color and their gender. So I'm like black guy, Asian guy, white
When you're
chick.
walking down the street?
Yeah.
See, I love saying
I don't-
hi to people on the street. Like
I don't
when
say hi
see
to
someone-
anybody. I just
I say hi to everyone, dude. Everybody. If I'm walking down the street and I'm looking at you, if you look at me, I say, "Hey, what's up?" Like I don't care who you are. I say what's up to you. Unless maybe you're like bumbling to yourself and very clearly drunk and I don't know, you
don't judge
feel
me.
yeah, exactly. I'll avoid you. I see you, I'm like, "Oh, I know that nose. I'm crossing the street."
I'll be like Mexican maybe, right? Because I don't know if that's a guy or a chick. Because once they get to a certain age, they kind of look the same. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's a silly thing, and it's such a weird perspective because I'm with you, right? Like when I grew up in Houston, there were as many white kids in my class as there were kids from India in my class.
Okay.
And the majority was black in most of my classes, Hispanic in a couple of them.
Okay.
And so it was like you talked with everybody. And in my class, it was literally it was black, Hispanic, white, Indian. And by Indian, Indian, not hoo Indian. So it was like you like just had this mix of people, and to me it never made any difference. I never cared. Because that was the one, if you cared, you might get your ass kicked. But two, that was the environment you were in. And so when I found out that there were people who like focused entirely on this outward characteristic, I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. It's never made sense to me. I don't understand it. And so to see people who are like so desperate to like, well, I must recognize my own whiteness so then I understand their blackness. Like, no, stop.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, I went to high school outside Philadelphia, and it's like, I mean, thinking back, like, I didn't think about it at the time, but like now that race has become such an issue, I'm like looking back at my high school, and I'm like, it was like 50% black and white. Like I didn't really like, it was a very diverse school, if you will, as they say, and I'm like. And it was cool.
Well,
like I think about high school, and there was cool people of all. I didn't think about race. I thought about like cliques, the jocks, the goths, the nerds, the athletic people. Like I don't know that race had nothing to do with it. It was a internal characteristic of how I divided my high school, and that's how I always looked at it. But like race, I'm like, it was pretty diverse, my school, like where I went to high school outside Philly.
Well, the funny thing is it wasn't as diverse as schools that are 99% black.
How does that make any sense?
It doesn't, but that's what they say, right? Like when they talk about, they're like, this is one of the most diverse schools in the nation with 99% black. It's like, wait, that doesn't make it more diverse. That's necessarily less diverse than most other schools. What are you talking about, you weirdos? But see, that's the thing. When you lens everything through the idea that whiteness is normative and to be recognized, then you say, well, everything away from whiteness is therefore automatically diverse, and it skews the entire lexicon. Like everything you talk about is skewed through this race thing, and that's what they've done to generations of people, and I'm baffled by it.
Me too, man.
Like in some ways, I get mildly uncomfortable by the pushback. Because again, I'm subject to some of the indoctrination from when I was a kid, but it's like I have to check myself and go, wait, these people aren't pushing back because they like so value their skin color. They're pushing back because they're being demonized for their skin color. And and guess what? It's it's okay to be whatever skin color you are. It's fine, except
Yeah.
for Indian from India, because it's a fake country. That's the only one that's not okay. But every other one is fine.
One day we're gonna go there. I'm gonna prove to you that it's real.
You can't.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what you say.
What country would willingly invent curry? What a terrible, terrible legacy.
I love curry. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, but
What does that mean? Yeah, I knew that about you, you curry lover.
Well, look, you were for a time vegan. Of course, you like curry. It's the only thing that can make non-meat taste good.
Hey, I liked curry long before I went vegan, and now I'm no longer vegan. It's true. I'm not vegan anymore.
I know you eat eggs now.
I do. I have eggs now. Yeah.
Do you get them from Tim Pool's guitar loving chickens? Do you have serenaded omelets?
Oh my god! I could say some stuff, but I don't like being mean, man.
Oh, this is all in good fun.
Yeah. All right.
I can't.
What are you drinking there? What's that?
You ruined my entire life by mentioning that he plays guitar for his chickens.
Or did I give you something glorious?
I know people who own chickens. They've named them. I'm like, it's a chicken. Why does it have a name? It's just a chicken. And they wouldn't play guitar for a chicken. They wouldn't be out there with a keyboard like in the winter in Minnesota, like do 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 do, hoping you drop some eggs. Like, that's the funniest thing to me. I've got this mildly hippie whiskey here. It's Redwood Empire, Emerald Giant rye whiskey. It's from Sonoma, California, and it talks about like sustainability and all that stuff. It's about the national parks. It's really, really good though.
Oh, nice.
It's a very, very good whiskey. Not very expensive.
What's the price point on that?
I think it was like $57.
Okay, that's like the middle ground, I think.
I mean, yeah.
Between like 40 and 70
for
is
normal people, it's a middle ground whiskey, right? Like, so because I think of that too. I'm like, once you get into triple digits, that's a pretty expensive whiskey.
Yeah,
and it takes some thought to spend $100 on a bottle of liquid.
Yeah,
but
I got mine on a bottle of Octomore. Have you ever tried Octomore?
Mm-mm.
My goodness. Do you like peaty whiskeys?
Yeah, I do very much.
Okay, Octomore is the best peaty whiskey I've ever tasted. It is really good. It's like $260. It's crazy.
I'll see if I can find some. Is it a Scotch or is it an American whiskey?
No, it's a Scotch. Yeah,
okay.
It's definitely from over there. Yeah, my buddy got it for me. He was like, "Dude, I know you like peaty. I got you this." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Shout out to the Frank if you guys know him. Dude's amazing. Bought me that amazing whiskey.
I was at a wine store the other day, and turns out they had whiskey there, and I was like, oh, okay. And in their case, they had a 36-year Tomatin whiskey, and I was like,
36 years.
Yeah, 36 years, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting, right? And I'm thinking, how much is this whiskey?
That's gonna be expensive.
So I go up and I ask, and I'm like, hey, how much is the Tomatin you have in there? They just have one. It's got like a wooden box and a leather case for it and all this stuff. And she says, it was something like 2,400 something. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to buy that today.
I'm good.
She's like, no, I can get you the price. I'm like, if it's anywhere near $2,400, I'm okay. We'll put that one on the back burner for now.
Right.
But I really wanted, it's like, I thought it was going to be like $500, and then I was going to have a moral dilemma. Like, do I buy this whiskey?
Yeah.
But no, turns out it was wildly, wildly expensive. So I did not get it.
Yeah, Tim actually bought me some insanely expensive whiskey.
The Pappy.
He got me the Pappy, $2,500 bottle of whiskey for New Year's, which I still have it. I'll probably have that bottle for a long time.
It's hard to drink one of those.
It's so good. I actually didn't like bourbon until I tried that. And then I'm like, I could drink bourbon.
Yeah.
It's very flowery, actually. It's got a very strong floral taste to it. So
I would like it. I would like it.
Yeah.
Or I would like to try it, I should say. I would like to try it. I've never had Pappy, but I would.
I hear it's like the unicorn of whiskeys.
Yeah,
It's very hard to find.
you got to get, because they send most of their bottles to like specific bars that are on a list, and then they get their stock, and then everybody else is waiting in line like there's an iPhone coming out.
Yeah.
And you either get one or you don't. And that's it. So I have no patience. I don't wait in line for fucking anything.
No.
That's why I don't like going to conventions unless I'm a guest of the convention.
Makes sense.
Because it's like, I'm not going to wait in a line to talk to somebody. Not in my thing to do.
You're above that.
No, I'm not above it. It's just no one is that important for me to wait in line to talk to them. Like, I don't care that much. I'm not that invested. So.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to get out of here. It's getting late for me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude, I love coming on your show, man.
Yeah, we've got to set up a full show, and I got to come back on your show, and I'll come talk about all the vaccine stuff on your show. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. That'll be the day.
I'll be like, let me tell you the truth about Fauci. He's eating the blood of Gabby Petito right now.
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Oh, real quick, do you have a hot take on Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie?
What? I mean, it's a shame that the FBI was too busy wearing Ray-Bans in DC instead of like focusing on some shit where YouTubers found out information that they didn't follow up on. I think it's an absolute shame.
Did he eat Gabby Petito?
Did he eat her? What the fuck? I don't know.
I'm just asking.
I have no idea. I have no clue. Someone was telling me last week that like, oh yeah, did you hear about that girl? She was beating him up, and I was like, what? Like, I don't know anything about it. And now this week they're like, oh, it seems like he was beating her up, and I'm like, I don't know anything about it. So
the domestic abuse thing, because I saw the stuff from Utah police or whatever, and whatever happened there happened. I don't know, because I was like, I don't know if he domestically abused her, but I'm pretty damn sure that he's the cause of her death. Like it
seems like it. He's disappeared now. Like where'd he go? Why is he gone?
If he's smart, he's in like Mexico or somewhere with a non-extradition treaty.
Probably way further than that.
Yeah. I'd be out of here. Even if he's innocent, he should be gone, because he looks as guilty as shit. I mean, just driving back while she's still missing was a miscalculation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Look, guys, if you're gonna kill someone in a national park, you got to help the cops search. You got to be like, I really want to find her just as much as you guys. It's weird. We were definitely camped over here, like 30 miles away.
He is not telling anyone any advice. What are you doing there? Oh my gosh. This is your show.
This is definitely legal advice. Look, if you're going to kill a 22-year-old YouTuber, and by the way, maybe some of them deserve to go. I don't know. Pick your battles here. I'm kidding. Okay, wait.
All right, I got to go listen to Snow, the Informer.
Right before you leave. Trump Willis is my name, says, no, Adam, you're in Chicago. Walk the other way. When you see a black person, walk the other way unless you're in a suburb. Cal Clay.
Hold on. On that note, I've been shot at in New York or in Chicago. I've actually been shot at. I've had to run. I was diving behind a fucking dumpster, and I saw the bullet hole appear right in front of me. So the bullet was really close to me, and it wasn't a black person that was shooting at me. That's all I'm going to say.
In Chicago, you're actually relatively safe if you're not in a gang. The overwhelming majority of murders in Chicago happen within the gang community.
Proximity killings. Yeah.
Yeah. But wait, so you said it wasn't a black person shooting. Was it a guy who says, I'm here from Tim Pool?
No, it was because someone had their hat this way.
Oh.
Instead of this way.
Yeah. See, I'm
not joking.
That's why I don't wear hats.
That's why I got shot at. I am not. It's pretty crazy, dude.
And this last one is really short, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Cal Clay says, Adam, would you cosplay as Hassan Piker? You could do it.
Hassan Piker. Is that Is he a YouTuber? I think I know who that is.
Yeah, it's Cenk Uygur, whatever his kid Hassan. He's the guy.
Oh, that's his kid?
I think so. And he's the guy who's the commie who advocates for communism, but then he just bought like a $3 million house.
I know. It's kind of hilarious how that works. No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't even cosplay as him and do like funny
Dude,
bits?
I don't cosplay it. If I'm gonna cosplay, I'm gonna freaking it's his nephew, everyone's saying.
Oh, it's his nephew. Whatever.
Dude, if I'm gonna cosplay something, I'm gonna do something that I like. Something badass, you know?
You had the right answer with I don't cosplay. That is the objectively correct answer.
Well, that is still true. I don't. But yeah.
All right, man. I'll let you get out of here. Thanks so much for popping on. It's always fun, buddy.
Always a pleasure, buddy. All right. Chat. Y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Oh my God, there's two of me. We got to end this. This is horrible. Okay, give me just a second to fix the camera. Here we go. Man, I like having Adam on the show, by the way. He is good stuff. He's great. We always have fun conversations. So, and a good sport. Come on. Oh my God, this takes forever. Transition like a leftist. Oh, there we go. So that was fun, but I have bad news. I have bad news. I'm not going to do the EVS versus DA talks thing tonight. You've all been grifted if that's what you're here for. Because we talked about everything else first, and then I blame Adam Krigler. It's his fault. He's the guy who came in and ruined the talking point. But we can pick it up tomorrow. Because I do want to go through it. But yes, I'll change the title, Eldon Bainling. I will. I'd much rather have Adam come on and talk to him like we did. We had a really good time hanging out and chatting about what's going on, chatting about Tim Pool, learning more of the lore. Every time Adam comes on, he's like some weird mobile McDonald's dropping Tim Pool McNuggets everywhere of truth. We have learned today that Tim Pool plays guitar to the chickens. And I don't know what to do with that. Who plays guitar for chickens? I can't even. This morning when you woke up, did you go, you know what I'm going to find out today? I'm going to find out that Tim Pool plays guitars for his chickens.